summer and traded him near the deadline. There's a centering feed by Jeff O'Neill that's slapped away. Kampanen hits the side of the net. That's when they got Kevin Weeks from Tampa Bay. Francis winds it around. Barrasso was traded shortly thereafter to Toronto. Now Barrasso's hurt.
Now I think Shane Willis too, the young player that we were talking about, how they can really skate and shoot. He's a young player. Remember, he suffered a concussion, I think, on a hit by Scott Stevens last year in the playoffs. He's having trouble recovering from that. I think just finding his confidence again to play a physical game and to go into areas where he might get hit.
Out come the Islanders. Mark Parrish driving towards the net. Took a little shove from Marek Malik. Pekka recovers. Head up, looks for help. Throws it off a Carolina stick and then bats it back in. Parrish with Bates. Centers off of Bates' skate. He recovers and hits the side of the net. Now Pekka goes to the corner. Francis on him. Hill steps into Pekka. Parrish on the puck. Deflected off the side of the net. Stays behind the goal line. Chipped out by Bates, but sent all the way down by Kampanen. And the Hurricanes, who were scrambling in their own end under Islander pressure, take an icing.
Well, does that line look happy to be back together, don't they? What a play by Michael Pekka. He'll knock the puck out of midair. Watch it coming up. It's blocked here. Puck goes up high. He'll knock it out of midair past everyone. And that'll create a 2-on-1 in front with Parrish and with Bates. And the pass actually goes off of Sean Hill and kind of redirects a little bit and then hits the skate. And so Pekka with a good forecheck. And the other, his two old line mates end up doing a good job of forechecking, and there's the last chance.
From the draw, Eric Cairns.
The break really helped him.
They didn't play a game at home between February 5th and March 7th. However, the Olympics were right in between there. Technically, it was an 8-game road trip. 3 and then the Olympics, and then 5 on the road, and they did fine. They won 5 out of the 8. Malik didn't hold it. Now he recovers. Hamrlik set to come out of the box, and the Islanders have killed the time. Loose puck corralled by Hamrlik. Hurricanes had one shot on that power play. And that's gloved by Urbe. You know, after this game, the Islanders will have 2 days off in a row. That's the first time since the trade deadline. As that drive goes off the glove of Osgood. The Islanders have been able to catch their breath. McDonald, number 12, that's rookie Craig McDonald from Harvard, got a shot off. Now he recovers and tries a wraparound. That didn't work. Valine back at the blue line.
Here's the forecheck that we were talking about. When Carolina's playing well, they get in and put pressure on the puck.
Darren Van Imp chipped it out. Aaron Ward has it back. Gets a return feed from Valine. And now Svoboda goes rink wide, and a wrist shot deflects and ends up in the corners. That shot was taken by McDonald. 12:03 remaining in the opening period. Carolina 5 shots, the Islanders 3, but no score. Here's Wazicek in over the line. McDonald took a hit from Cairns. The puck to the other side, and now Kavasha finds Miller, and Kip Miller bounces one. Missed by Urbe, but off the net. Miller has it back. Feeds Hamrlik. Quick shot. He scores! Roman Hamrlik. 1-0 Islanders.
Now the Islanders got in and got their forecheck going on this goal. Kip Miller just dumps it in. Urbe can't handle it, kind of misses it. And that's where Tanabe has to give up the puck because of the forecheck right onto the stick of Miller. And very quickly, Hamrlik puts it in. So it was the forecheck by Scatcher. Watch Scatcher get in a hurry on Tanabe. Forces him to turn it over right onto the stick of Miller, who finds Hamrlik, and the quick shot. Urbe can't handle it. There wasn't a lot on the shot, but he got it off in a hurry. And Hamrlik gives the Islanders a 1-0 lead.
So Scatcher with Kavasha and Miller combining. Kenny Janssen. And now Pekka behind the net, but he fans. Francis centers. It was missed by Kampanen all the way to the blue line. Hill's shot went off the stick of Sean Bates. Well, Radek Martinek, one of the big reasons why Peter Laviolette got off to such a great start. And look at Radek skating.
Yeah. Not exactly flying, but isn't that great to see him back on the ice?
You know what, though? Sean Donnellan, the assistant trainer and certainly the guy who puts these guys through such rigorous workouts from time to time, was saying that they can't, on game days, Martinic comes here twice on game days to work out. Most days he just shows up once, but between the bike and the treadmill and all that, he is right on schedule. And the Islanders, in case you're wondering if you were ahead of schedule, are not even going to think about trying to get him into a playoff game if in fact the Islanders go for a long postseason ride.
Well, they say in most cases it's 6 months minimum. And in unusual cases, some players come back in 4 or 5 months. I think Mike Richter on the second time around came back a little bit earlier. But they don't want to take a chance with him. He was such a pleasant surprise with the way he played in training camp. A late round draft pick, and just stepped up, and he's got such great vision on the ice, passes the puck so well. And when you think of the Islanders defense next year with him coming back healthy, and Adrian O'Coin and what he's done, and Adrian O'Coin is going to have to be signed after this year.
Don't get nervous. He can't walk away. He's a group 2, not a group. Somebody out there was just going, what?
Yeah, he's not unrestricted. He is a restricted free agent in the offseason, but the kind of year he's had, the impact he's had on this team, and I'm sure he'll be back.
Maybe the funniest moment here at the Coliseum all year was when Martinic beat the Hurricanes with an overtime goal, was named the first star of the game, didn't know what to do. Couldn't get him off the ice afterwards.
Oh, they pushed him on the ice and he got out there and said, now what do I do?
He just kept waving, blowing kisses. Of course, the last time the Islanders played the Carolina Hurricanes, Martinic was Martinet. That's how long it's been. Chris Osgood trying to wind that in. Irbe wants to keep play moving. Gave it away. Van Impe throws it at the net, and it ticks off the glass. Boy, Irbe tried to keep the power play going, and here's Van Impe firing, and a save by Irbe. This entire flurry, all because of the mistake by Arturs Irbe.
Yeah, what ends up happening, when you play it forward on the power play, on the point, that can be very difficult, and the Islanders are trying to take advantage of that. And Irbe's had to come up with a couple of excellent saves.
30 seconds remaining on the 4-minute penalty on Adrian O'Coin. Hurricanes have had 2 shots the first 3.5 minutes. Good work by Blake to get back, and he clears. And now the Hurricanes down to 1 more rush. Kampanen in his own zone. Up ahead for Wazicek. Lapointe after him. Gives him a tug. Wazicek slides it down low. Svoboda gets there. 4 seconds left to the power play. Svoboda wrestling with Hamrlik. Wazicek's got the puck. O'Coin's out of the box. Wazicek sneaks out for a shot. The save by Osgood, and a whistle. I believe the net had come off. 11:18 to go in the second. Islanders kill a 4-minute power play. People joining us in the booth. The owner of the New York Islanders, co-owner, is Charles Wang. And also, of course, the general manager, Mike Milbury. And first off, Charles, what were your thoughts in the waning few minutes on Saturday night?
Oh, my heart was in my mouth, as you know. The Caps were coming back. But I'm so glad we made it, and made it here for the fans.
And Mike, I know you decided to bolt and watch the thing at home. Yeah. What was going on that last few minutes? I understand you actually turned this off.
Yeah, well, I walked into my house and my wife said, "What are you doing here? You're going to jinx it." And sure enough, there was at 5:03. She said, "Shut it off, and we'll wait till after 10 o'clock." And so we did, and the ending was spectacular.
Mike, what was going through your mind? I know it was a day and a night that everyone looked forward to finally clinch it. And how about during the course of the game in that 2, 3, 4 hour period of time? What were you thinking?
Well, I was thinking a lot of things, but I was really grateful that these fans finally were able to enjoy a night like last night. I was grateful for this guy. I give him a kiss right now, but I don't want to spoil his reputation.
It's good TV. Come on. There you go.
And it was a wonderful night to be a Long Islander fan. I'm telling you, it was terrific.
Hey, if you want a tape, just ask us, okay?
We're going to get this on the Kiss Cam. Sanjay's going to be so jealous.
Well, what really interests me, Charles, is that there's a dynamic that allows you to be wildly successful in business and maintain your anonymity for the most part. Now you own a sports team, you walk around Long Island, and everybody knows you. Are you comfortable with that?
Not really. It's not really our style. Sanjay and I feel the same way, but we have great hockey people around us, like Mike and Peter and so forth, and look at the fans. You got to love them.
Charles, your first year wasn't easy, though, because I know everyone was looking for success. And as you went through that first year and then the summer, what was, I mean, did your thoughts differ in any way from the time that you bought the team and were looking to establish something here?
I think the most important thing we felt, and seriously, was that if we build the right culture, the right foundation, we're going to have something longer term than let's not just go for a quick fix of some kind, but let's build it. And this is the man who built it.
What happens
all
now?
summer long? I was looking for the pink slip. That's what I was doing.
Well, you know, what happens now, regardless of how far you might go in the playoffs, the bar has really been raised, and the expectations are a lot higher now than they were even 6 months ago. So how active will you be in searching out premier, high-ticket type free agents this summer? Is that an avenue you're going to explore?
Yeah.
Did you
We're going to talk about the budget first, but you know what? We can worry about that in a couple of months. Right now, we're worried about winning the first round of the playoffs.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've got to take a break, which will give them more time to ponder the budget and other things relative to the New York Islanders.
Len Hurley owns
The renaissance of the New York Islanders, the kids, the fans have come back. The kids a big part of it. And tonight, Charles Wang, the co-owner of the New York Islanders, will join Al Troutwig and John Gianowen on Angles right after the all-new MSG Sports Desk on MSG. And that's what I was getting at about the anonymity factor before. That's all gone. And now, of course, you get to talk about what's happened here, not only this year, but also for the future as Chris Osgood makes a save. So have you further pondered what we talked about before the break?
I think we've got to, as Mike said earlier, take it one step at a time. Got to get into the play. Got to get through the playoffs now and do the best we can.
And, you know, I mean, yesterday, I don't know if you've talked about it now. It was another good day for our organization. The Bridgeport Sound Tigers won the American Hockey League Championship, regular season championship, and we did it with some young kids. It was great to do with young kids, not veteran types.
Charles, you believe in Mike Milbury last year when most everyone who was at this building was calling for his head. Why? What did you see in Mike?
You know, I think whatever I saw, it's proven there on the ice today. And he built the team. He got the opportunity to do it. I liked Mike when we first met him. He was blunt, spoke his mind, and it's wonderful. And the most important thing.
You just kept me because I'm a good kisser.
And we've got the tape to prove it.
You might as well give him one more.
Well, let me ask you this. Did you send Mike to charm school as you had threatened to do at one point? Because he used to call himself Mad Mike, and I teased him this morning. Now he's Mellow Mike. What happened?
No, you didn't have to send him to charm school. I think he was there all the time. But I think the point is that he built this thing, got the patience, and worked with these kids. And look at the team.
Charles, have you ever been to a playoff game, NHL playoff game?
No, never. I'm looking forward to this experience. It's going to be tremendous.
What are your expectations? And this is really a question for both Charles and Mike. Yes, it's uncharted territory over the last half dozen years or so, but you're a playoff team now. What do you expect?
I don't know what to expect. I mean, I think we can be competitive with every team in the division. We've played the top teams in the division very well this year. You know, one team that gave us fits, a couple teams, Washington, may not even be in it, and Ottawa, who knows, we may not match up. But I think that, you know, obviously Osgood's going to have to be on top of his game. When he is, all bets are off. And clearly our special teams, which have been pretty good all year, are going to have to stay there. We haven't been as consistent as I might like. And that, of course, you cannot afford inconsistency in a playoff series, 7 games though it may be.
You know, Mike, we've talked a lot, and we talked about this last game, about the moves that you made starting at the draft last year, and first Yashin, and then Michael Pekka, and then Adrian Aucoin, which was really the quiet one, I think, as it turns out. And then, of course, picking up Chris Osgood on the waiver wire. When you look back now after 78th, 79th game tonight, was there one in your mind that was more important than the other?
You know, I don't think so. I mean, the first one to fall into place, obviously, was the Yashin deal, and that was huge for us. And then to follow that up the next day with the Pekka was equally large. We didn't know how important the Aucoin acquisition was, done even before those guys came in. But what was really manna from heaven, or I should say manna from Charles, was Osgood came out of the blue to be left on the waiver wire. We were already over budget, and he said, "You got to take the guy." He said, "You told me right away that it starts from goal," and that was true. And we were willing to take our chances with Salfitsky and Snow and DiPietro, and who knows how that would have turned out. But it was a lot safer bet to go with a veteran player like Chris Osgood.
Islanders killing off a penalty here at Carolina with another 34 seconds on the power play as Sammy Kapanen carries the puck. And the Cheering for Children Foundation is carrying the night as well here on Fox Sports Net, as well as the Madison Square Garden Network. Charles, I know you've been so involved with charities, most notably the Make-A-Wish Foundation over the last number of years here on Long Island. Just how close is that to your heart personally?
I think the most important thing is to get the kids involved and get them in some way rooting for the team. Whatever we can give back, it's so important that we take care of our kids.
Charles, how forceful then have you been with the players? Because I know in years past, and Mike knows this, with not making the playoffs and all the upheaval regarding prior ownership, that a lot of the players were not staying around in the summer months and really making Long Island their home. How forceful have you been in talking to the players about not only the charities but making Long Island their home?
I don't think we had to say too much. I mean, I think that's the beauty of it. I don't think we had to do anything. For example, as you know, Peter bought a house here, Michael Peck, Alexei Yash, and they're here. I mean, they're Long Islanders, and we hope to have them a long, long time now.
Yeah, there was a time when we only had one or two guys to stick around. By the way, in case you're interested, Phillies tied late in the second period, and sooner or later we're going to be on the power play, I think. What is this, 5-1 against 6-1? Let's get serious here.
All right, now Mad Mike's coming back. That's more like it.
We didn't think you were watching.
I got my eye on it.
Well, the PK is over. Sammy Kapanen throws it all the way down. The Hurricanes did not get a shot on goal. If you did not have surround sound on Saturday night, and you know what, even if you did, it probably didn't do justice to what this place sounded like and what it's going to sound like, I'm sure, during the playoffs. Do full houses, Charles, take away any of the urgency at all for either a new arena or the restructuring of this one, or is that still priority A?
I think it's important that we first get to the playoffs, do well. A winning team has a kind of an aura with fans, with the politicians. So obviously, eventually, we will need either to refurbish or to need a new place. But I don't think this is the time. Right now, let's focus on the playoffs.
Mike, it's been a while for you as well. In fact, for a lot of us, where our home team had a chance to make the playoffs. What about what's going through your mind when you think back to as a player and as a coach and as a general manager when you're in the playoffs and now getting ready for it again?
You know, I was 20 years in the Bruins organization, and we made the playoffs every year. And I didn't realize just how devastating it can be not to make the playoffs. And I'm so grateful for the chance to get this team back into it, for us to come together as a group that, you know, I'll never, ever again take it for granted. And these guys will learn so much in that first round. They'll learn a lot about themselves, about their teammates, and what it takes to be a winner in this league in the postseason play. It's a lot different.
What do you think is the key then, as you, if you get a chance to talk to these players before you actually start that first series? And I guess regardless of who you play, there are some constants to get ready for the playoffs. What are they?
I think we've talked a little bit about them in terms of the goaltending and the special teams, but 5-on-5 play, it's got to be mistake-free hockey. You're not going to be taking chances in the playoffs. Every mistake, every turnover at the offensive blue line, every missed clearing attempt on a penalty killing situation can turn around and really bite you, because every goal is so critical in the playoffs. And I think they'll find that out, that if they can play with discipline, conservatively with discipline, and then also but not go too far. You can't go the other way in terms of it being panic. You can't be squeezing the stick too tight. And that fine balance is difficult to achieve, but when you get it, it can provide a great ride for the team and for the franchise.
Mike, do you feel any sense of urgency, and Charles, perhaps do you as well, to move up in this last week and create a higher standing for yourself in the conference, maybe even catch Philadelphia? Would that just be gravy, or is there some urgency there?
Well, I don't know if it's urgency anymore, but it's hey, listen, to get home ice advantage in the playoffs, to have a chance to win a division title, that's pretty special. And the one thing that has scared me about us making the playoffs this relatively early is that there might be a sense of satisfaction, but I like this.
That's why.
You know, that's a danger thing, but you can see we played pretty hard tonight. We stick together, and whenever we've had adversity, we've managed to dig down and play through it.
That was Kevin Adams, by the way, that took a little whack at Chris Osgood as he was trying to freeze the puck, and of course one of your newest additions, Mr. Van Imp, goes after him. Here it is again. Watch Chris Osgood bobble it a little bit and then hold on. Watch the stick right there, and Darren Van Imp, which is, I know, one of the reasons why you brought him here from Florida. goes over and has a few words with Adams, and then everybody else gets involved. This is a team, Mike, that it seems to me in the last 3 or 4 weeks in particular, that seems to have really come together. I mean, has it seemed that way to you? I mean, it seems like they're really, gelling and sticking up for one another, like almost they can sense something.
I agree. It was just Columbus a couple of weeks ago or 3 weeks ago when I was talking to Peter, and it was a pretty intense conversation. And he just said, it'll be okay. And I said, why? He said, because I said it'll be okay. He almost like said, get away from me. Let me do my job. And then Pekka stood up in Ottawa, and all of a sudden it started to happen. And they've won the games that they've had to win.
That was your Mad Mike hat you had on?
Yeah. And Peter knocked it off.
Going to have a 4-on-4 sequence here because of the penalties to Brad Isbister for the Islanders and Kevin Adams for the Carolina Hurricanes. Charles, I know you met Peter over the summer, obviously, before Mike hired him. What was it about Peter Laviolette that sold you?
He's a good family man. Great kids. And I think that's what really, he's a good man. And that's where you look to the heart, besides all the hockey knowledge, which I cannot judge anyway, but you look at the person.
So on this 4-on-4, Roman Hammerlick carries the puck. And I just want to take this opportunity not only to thank Charles Wang and Mike Milbury, but to congratulate both of you on bringing hockey back to the island in the kind of passionate manner that we've seen not only this year, but even on that shift. You feel an anticipation now when the Islanders are carrying the puck over the opposition blue line in a way that we haven't over the last few years. And when the fans start to get up out of their seats just on a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-2 for the right reasons rather than to leave the building, things have changed.
Yeah, and it was a special moment when everybody stayed at the end of the Washington game to applaud Kenny Onson and Claude Lapointe and Steve Webb. They deserve it. They've been here through really ridiculously difficult times, and every one of them was a significant factor, I thought, in the game the other night. It wasn't just a gimme 3-star night. Come on, let's go, Okie.
See, this is the stuff we're trying to get to. This is Mike behind the bench in his coaching days. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's X-rated, thank you.
As long as he doesn't tap me on the shoulder to go out, we're okay. Oh, come on.
How about this kid? What a turnaround for Oleg. Been amazing. And you know what?
Your best player in the last 3 weeks.
He has been, and I'm telling you, it's all about hard work and just a little time and patience. To work through this. If they needed a lesson in patience, give that guy 5. If you needed a lesson in patience, we got it with Kavasha again.
Well, the Islanders will have the power play that Mike predicted. Mike Milbury, thank you. Charles Wang, thank you. Congratulations. Remember, Charles Wang will be on Angles tonight at 11 o'clock on MSG. Business tonight, the Islanders were 2 points behind the Toronto Maple Leafs, as well as the Ottawa Senators. Adrian Aucoin throws one to the net, and it ticked off of Sean Bates. And comes to center.
Oh, by the way, did you see where Roger Nielsen's going to be the head coach for the Ottawa Senators in their final
last 2 games?
Yeah, isn't that great?
That's a wonderful gesture on the part of Marshall Johnston, the GM.
It sure is.
It'll get Roger to 1,000 games coached.
And he'll set an NHL record for teams coach as a head coach, number 8.
I guess that's a record a coach would want. Here's Pekka to the net, and a kick save by Urbe. Of course, nobody's going to quit 7 jobs. You got to be fired a bunch of times in there, and Roger's been that.
Yeah, Mike Keenan is the other one he's coached 7 teams.
Eric Cairns ahead from Miller, and now Kavasha towards the net. The backhander kicked aside. Aline takes Kavasha in hard. And Brindamore flutters one to the line and out. Tanabe coming to the Islander line. Chopped at by Hammerlick. Brings to mind when Bobby Nystrom, who had suffered an eye injury, was allowed by Al Arbor to take a face-off and play his 900th and final National Hockey League game. He sent Bobby Nye out, said just take the opening draw. Nystrom could not play because of his eye injury, and he knew that would be it for his NHL career, and it was a ceremonial face-off, but an even 900 games for the man whose banner hangs from the rafters here at the Nassau Coliseum.
Done with each other. You and I went through this before. Pete talked about it.
Sunday afternoon.
They meet each other, and that could be probably, maybe, one of their bigger games of the season.
Can the Flyers, who still have a chance, end up with the #1 seed overall?
And
they're stumbling at the end.
And if they don't win their games, the Islanders could go right on by them and beat them by a nose at the wire.
That's right.
Down the stretch they come.
There you go, Dave Johnson. I know you're a big fan of his. Calling all the races as the puck is tipped back inside the Nashville line. LaPointe and Blake, the penalty killing forwards. Predators with the man advantage as the puck is wheeled out right side by Kimmo Timonen. Up in front, Dennis Archipov, Martin Nierat, Vladimir Orzak. Andy Delmore is at the other point with Timonen. Timonen a backhand feed down the boards, broken up and cleared down ice by Jason Blake.
The New York Islanders power play beat their 12th in the NHL, but on the road, they're second best in the NHL, so obviously on the road, they crank it up a little more for some reason.
Beware them, they have scored 17 shorthanded goals as they clear it down in the Nashville zone.
And that's, believe me, Pete, a powerful bunch of shorthanded goals. So obviously they're not afraid to take chances when they're a man short out there.
Michael Pekka is out there now, killing off the penalty with Sean Bates. The Predators have made a change in their power play personnel, and just turning around, Sean Bates backhands it down ice.
And that's two of their best, Pete. You mentioned shorthanded scoring. Well, Pekka has 6 shorthanded goals, and Bates has 4, so that's 10 between the two of them. So obviously they'll come down and attack you.
And we have a interference call here at the line as the Predators were trying to break in. 46 seconds were remaining on the Predators power play. But now Peter Tenkrat is going to have to take his seat in the penalty box for the interference call.
And these are the ones, Pete, that sort of drive you nuts as a coach. Sort of a common sense call by the ref.
Bates along with Yachmanev. Bates leads it. Timonen puts it up onto the right wing board. He started out by Hentonen to Greg Johnson, who hesitates after crossing the Nashville line. Johnson in across the Islander line. Down the right wing side, Yachmanev at the hash mark. His fast tip. Hentonen with a shot right on, stopped by Snow. Now Delmore takes the failed clear. Delmore straight away to Timonen, the shot blocked away. Hentonen the rebound left wing side. Shovels it behind the Long Island net. 5 seconds to go on the penalty. Lift up off the boards by Sean Bates, and that will do it for the Predators' second power play of the night. They had 3 shots with that man advantage. It's still 0-0. 7 minutes remaining in the opening period. Rod LaPointe tried to clear it out. Clausen sent it down behind. Predators have been outshot 10-6 at this point. At one time it was 7-1, however, as the Islanders put the puck on the left wing side. Archipov and Erat tried to hold it on. Lindgren comes out with it. His pass for Isbister breaking in against Eaton. Isbister scores! Isbister didn't give up, kept going after it, and drilled it from the circle to the left side of Vlasic to give the Islanders a 1-0 lead at 13:59.
And that is just sheer tenacity, Pete, by Isbister, as you mentioned. It was just a little dump pass through in our defense. Isbister just took it, and Vlasic come out to his left thinking he had the angle taken off, but Isbister put it right back to the right side of Vlasic, just inside the post. So Isbister, some good hustle for the Islanders, Pete. He just simply out-foot raced everybody to the loose puck, took it down the right side, just spanked it back to where Vlasic had come from, and it just caught the inside of the post for a 1-0 lead.
His 16th of the year at 13:59. Lindgren and Cairns will get credit for the assist on the goal. It was Lindgren gave him just enough room to get to it. Islanders front 1-0. Tarnquist dumps it in the corner. Holder on the left wall for Archipov. Archipov with the loft. Knocked down. Predators take away. Here's Erat breaking in. Erat couldn't get around his Bister, however, in the snow. Scatcherd to Hammerlick and behind the net for Cairns. Cairns returns to Hammerlick. Hammerlick onto the left wing, skating into it. Scatcherd nudged out to the line and across. The puck taken back by Peter Tenkrat. Tenkrat circles right side, Nashville zone. His pass out, knocked down by Scatcherd, played in for Kavasha, coming across Eaton, and now right in front of it. What a point-blank stop was made initially by Vlasic on the shot by Miller, but then Miller got the rebound and scored to make it 2-0. Kip Miller, an in-season free agent signee, scores on the rebound of his own shot to put the Islanders up 2-0.
And again, Pete, sheer hustle by the Islanders, but just a broken play. 3 guys should have had the puck before it got through to Miller. It come all the way across from the left boards two of our guys missed it. One of the Islanders, Kip Miller, was the surprise recipient of the puck, and Lassick stopped him on the initial thrust. Miller got it, come in, took the initial shot. Lassick made a great save, but nobody cleared the rebound for the kid. And then Kip Miller just jumped all over the rebound and slid it under Lassick's pad. So again, Lassick made the initial stop, but the rebound jammed under his pad by Kip Miller.
This happening at 16:41. And Kip Miller was signed out of the minor leagues by the New York Islanders. And consider mid-season, 7 goals. That's a pretty good contribution.
I think he's one of the Miller boys, and you know the family quite well. They're all huge guys, aren't they? Pete, his brothers?
Out of Lansing, Michigan, and Michigan State University. Kip is the smallest at 5'10", 190.
He's the baby.
On the left side, the shot by Jason Blake is turned away by Jan Lassick. Miller from Kavach
was caught down low, holding on to one of the Islanders. So now with 2:26 remaining, Islanders leading 2-0 in the first period. The Islanders are on the power play.
So a chance to extend it already is a 2-goal lead here late in the first. Hammerlick and a coin. Normally work the points. Kenny Janssen is out there right now with Hammerlick. Hammerlick dumps it down. It comes out of the corner, but back to the corner by Jan Lassick. Hammerlick off to Janssen. Janssen wrists one toward the front of the net, and the deflection off the stick of Parrish is handled by Lassick. Not a
down low butterfly style, covering all kinds of territory, and that time he picked one off a point from the shot, sort of ricocheted. He's down there and just trapped it again down low.
Play the face off to Hammerlick, right side Janssen. Janssen at the point to Hammerlick. Hammerlick on the left side wall for Sean Bates. Bates carried down, gives it up low. Pekka tries to center, got it to Janssen, who fired it high. Janssen had some open space in which to shoot. Bates to Janssen, left circle, low left circle, Pekka. Pekka a shot in a tough angle, and Lassick able to hold it. Dillmore flips it down for Scatchard. Scatchard goes down under some pressure from Bill Holder. Right in front for Kavasha, and Kavasha put it across the line, he scores. Miller got it across to Kavasha on the doorstep, and the Islanders, with 57 seconds got in the third, retake their 2-goal lead.
And Pete, I have no idea, but what a goal by Kavasha. He was so in tight up against Jan Lassick. The puck was thrown across, and I don't know how he got it up that fast, that quick. And I think the first thrust was in, Pete, and then suddenly he made sure it was in. But you know what? I think he missed it with his stick.
He did.
Went up and off his skate or his pad and went straight up. And wow, was he Johnny on the spot in tough on that one. But he had presence of mind enough to, just in case the first one didn't count or didn't go in, he made sure he put his own rebound in.
Kavasha is 13. Kip Miller, the feed across. 57 seconds into the period. Scatchard will get an assist as well. Scatchard, Kavasha, and Miller have figured in 2 of the 3. The puck is covered by Jan Lassick with 1:13 gone.
So, head coach Barry Trotz, not exactly. He puck to the net, traffic to the net.
Parrish, a big shot is stopped by Lassick, and then Pekka stopped by Lassick. Covering up, going on to his backside to the left of his goal.
So we're talking, Pete, about the net. The puck arrives in the net. 1 save, 2 saves, 3 saves in a row by Lassick. He ends up sitting on his favorite, your word, keister, making the last save, Pete. So again, the Islanders right off the face-off threw 3 pucks at goaltender Jan Lassick.
Pulled around against Dillmore. Off for Scatchard, and his shot was fired wide. Rebound Tarnstrom down the left half wall. Ends up putting it behind the net. Ray Clausen the rebound on the left wing side. Shovels it out to center off the person of Tarnstrom. Back in the Islanders' zone. Islanders changing up some of their personnel as a pass by Kavasha was blocked by Strastinch. Feed to Steve Webb. He'll dump it in diagonally. Strastinch with Jason Blake on his back. Archipov gave it. It's tipped over right side for Nathan Parrott. Parrott from center dumps it in. Point. Tried to turn it around. Here's Archipov. Low right in front of the net. Jamming for it. Comes out toward the line. It was held in the zone and deflected out off Jason Blake. Delayed offside. The Islanders. Kenny Janssen comes out with it around Nathan Parrott, and he sends it into the corner. The left side of Lassick. Held on the wall by Claude Lapointe. Puts it around to the left corner. Steve Webb trying to get in position to make a play as Jason Blake kicks it away from Cale Hulse. Feed out for LaPointe. LaPointe down the boards from the left side behind the net for Jason Blake again. Blake comes out to the left half wall. Left the puck there. It's chipped but held in by Janssen at the left point, and he sends it behind the Predator net yet again. Pulled away by Webb. Webb in the left circle. Webb out to the point. A coin with a shot. Knocked down in front. Mark Eaton sprawls and clears. 4:45 gone in the third. Each side with a goal here in the early stages of the period. Islanders lead at 3-2. Cale Hulse behind the Nashville net. Hulse around Sean Bates. Goes to team who flipped out. Held in. And now Pekka pounces on it in the corner. Leaves it for Parrish. Parrish is met up by Hulse. No one in front of the Predators net right now directly, though Tankrat standing by. Pekka for Bates. One touch to Bates to Pekka, the shot. That one deflects away wide. Tankrat couldn't turn against Hammerlick. Parrish, a pass deflects, taken away and started back up ice by Yachmanev. Yachmanev, a move behind Parrish down the right wing side, puts it right on net, and a rebound handled by Michael Pekka and cleared out for Bates left of the center circle. For Parrish across the line. Parrish, a bit of a joust with Jari Karlotti. Behind the net goes the puck. Kimmo Timonen has it. Kimmo Timonen with the puck as the Predators change up their personnel. Archipov pounces off the bench, goes behind the net. The puck was left there. Timonen, left side is passed to Karlotti. Off the wall, Hammerlick breaks it up from the Islander line. Banged away from Cherkovsky. Carried in now, given off to Erat. His shot blocked to the corner by Hammerlick. On the boards, right wing side, Orzog unable to hold it in. His Bister got it out, deflected back in on Eric Cairns. Hammerlick, right side at center. Throws it in that right side. He'll go off with a change. Down the Nashville net, Lindgren runs directly at Bill Holder. Cherkovsky in the right corner with Archipov on him. Cherkovsky falls down. Archipov puts the puck back to the corner. Erat on the half wall. Nice slip out to Delmore. Predators coming back 2-on-2. Delmore and Orzog. Delmore shot stop. Orzog couldn't get the rebound as Snow's own man collided with him and Snow lost his goalie stick. Coming back with it now, Van Impe. Down the right wing side, Predator zone. Van Impe to Cherkovsky, who scores! What a play. Van Impe got it across to Cherkovsky right in front. And the Islanders retake a 2-goal lead, 4-2 at 6:43 of the third.
You talk about a game of inches, Pete. Down at the far end, Orzog and Delmore just missed combining for a goal at that end. They went right down. Delmore and Orzog take off. They have a 2-on-1. They come down on it. Couldn't get to the rebound. Back down the ice come the Islanders. And as you mentioned, Pete, Van Impe to Cherkovsky, the same play. He throws a backhand. Cherkovsky just simply doesn't even stop it. He just throws it up and over the shoulder of Vlasic to regain that 2-goal lead.
So 3 goals in the first 6:43 of the third period. Islanders 4, Predators 2. Left wing side at center. Things have opened up, I'm sure, a little bit more than Islanders coach Peter Laviolette.
Cherkovsky from Van Impe, just a nice play. Van Impe carries the puck into the right side. He throws a little backhand across. Cherkovsky, he doesn't even stop it, Pete. He just simply tips it up and over. That's a goal scorer's movement. That one
carries behind the net. That's his right wing side to Isbister. The pass went behind him. Making sure it stays in is Janssen. Cherkovsky works behind the Predator net. Comes around. He was almost poke checked, losing the puck thanks to the play of the goaltender Vlasic. Cherkovsky holding on to the puck inside the Nashville line. As the puck comes away to Isbister left side. Behind the net. Lindgren lost it to Delmore. Delmore zooms a pass up to center that fell off the stick of Orzog to Isbister. Right side is shoveled out off the boards to center for Cherkovsky. Gives it back inside the Islander line. Scatchard looking for it, flipped in the air as the puck is taken away by Carlos Skrastinch for the Predators. Skrastinch out in front of his goal, almost gave it up to Kavasha, but to Reed Simpson, who tips into the Islanders' zone. Behind the net, Hammerlick, as icing has been waved off, he didn't realize it. Off to Skrastinch, the shot, the rebound, Tankrat, what a save by Garceau. Tremendous save by Garceau. Tankrat trying on the rebound. Skrastinch holds on. The blast goes wide. Rebound chipped onto the boards. corral shot at the rebound. Snow somehow disengaged himself from the scrum to the right of the crease, reached across, and got the trapper glove out there to make the stop. And the examination of all of this, as the Predators have taken a timeout with 1:04 remaining in regulation, how Snow was able to free himself up from Greg Clausen is absolutely inexplicable. So the Predators take the timeout at 18:56, hoping they can get something against Scatchard. Timonen, Delmore back. Delmore, left side. Move around Bates with a tough angle. Fluffed on the shot. Stick broken. And a battle and the Islanders cleared. Here comes Michael Pekka bearing down on the empty net. He scores! Michael Pekka scores an empty netter with 51.2 seconds remaining. And the Islanders have taken a 5-2 lead. So the Islanders have assured themselves here tonight of their 40th win of the year. Again, a team that a year ago won but 21 times. And Islanders continuing to put some pressure on that Eastern Conference playoff race. 51.2 seconds remaining. Michael Pekka gets the empty netter. And our Gatorade player of the game tonight is Oleg Kavasha of the Islanders with a goal and an assist. And Kavasha's goal stands as the game winner. It was the third in a night where the Islanders lead it now 5-2. As Bister is able to clear it out. Back it goes into the Nashville zone. Krastich and Kurkowski. Krastich trying to get it free to Jukka Hensley. 30 seconds remaining. Feed right in front. Lindgren is stopped by Lastic at point blank. Taken by Greg Clausen, right side for Krastich. Bates and a coin with the assist on the Pekka goal, which was his 25th of the year. Into the Islanders zone. 12 seconds to go. Turnstrom up on the right wing side, got it out around Krastich. Is Bister, and time runs out on the Predators' 4th ever home season here this evening. The New York Islanders come in with a very impressive performance and knock off the Predators 5-2 as the pyrotechnics go off here at the Gaylord Entertainment Center. New York Islanders knock off the Nashville Predators 5-2, and our Advance Auto Parts best play of the game, it was Oleg Kavasha with the game-winning goal from in very tight quarters, got right in front and knocked it in on at least his second and perhaps his third whack at it, as Kavasha got the goal 57 seconds into the third period to put the Islanders up 3-1. They come on to win it here tonight, 5-2 the final score, while outshooting the Predators 31-25. Stay tuned, we'll be back with more Nashville Predators High.
Well, the Islanders win this one 5-2. Even with some fans from Mineola having come all the way to Nashville. Islanders got off to a good start thanks to Brad Isbister. And they would double their lead, making it 2-0 before the Predators would start coming on. Nashville played a very strong second period. So as good as things looked early to Garth Snow and the Islanders, the Predators needed to be held off in that second. It was 2-1 going into the third. Then the Islanders would score 3, including an empty netter to set up tomorrow night's game, which will be on TV 55. Hope you can join us at 7:30 for the New York Islanders and the Tampa Bay Lightning. That's tomorrow night. Tonight at 11:30, don't forget Sports Desk on MSG. Right now for Joe Micheletti and our entire crew, I'm Howie Rose. Have a great night.
John Lasik with a softie, his 16th. It's 1-0. Isles add to that lead. Oleg Kavasha, pretty little pass to Kip Miller, who bangs in his 7th. The Preds then wake up in the second period. Peter Tenkrat
They gain the zone
with a nice little backhanded pass to Reed Simpson, who pulls the trigger. Simpson's got 5. Nashville's within 1. Islanders up 3-2 in the third. Darren Van Impe fights Marius Cherkasky in front. That's his 22nd. Then Garth Snow would start to shine. Rob Tenkrat on the doorstep with a brilliant save. The Islanders leapfrog the Devils with a 5-2 victory tonight. The Islanders have 92 points as they go over the 90-point plateau for the first time since 1985-86. All the playoff positions when it comes to the Eastern Conference have in fact been set, but they continue to jockey most teams with 2 games remaining. This is the way it stands right now.
The Predators first period, the Islanders leading 1-0. Kip Miller stopped by Jan Lasik, but he gets his own rebound and scores. New York ahead 2-0. On to the second period, Tenkrat backhands the pass to Reed Simpson. He risks in his 5th goal. Nashville trailed 2-1. Third period action with the Isles up 3-1. Archipov centers to Martin Erat. He pots his 9th goal in the season. 3-2 New York. Darren Van Emp glides into the Pred zone here, finds Cherkasky, who taps in his 22nd goal. The Islanders would add a late tally as they polished off the Predators 5-2, and that turned out to be a big game for the Islanders because, as we get a look at the Eastern Conference standings, they moved into 6th spot from dropping New Jersey into 7th. Boston, of course, tonight losing to Ottawa, but they still maintain their first place.
Up 3-2, Darren Van Emp. Marius Cherkasky tips it past Jan Lasik. Later in the third, Preds down to Andy. An arrow now.
Arrow, something good or something bad is going to happen. Let's see what it is.
Find out. Oh, yeah. Stick broke in half.
Stick. What do you expect for $150?
Andy's reaction.
Pekka breakaway. Open net goal.
Andy's reaction. Stupid.
What a year I'm having.
The Islanders ensure their best season since reaching the Stanley Cup Finals in 1984 with the victory, which gave them 92 points. They hadn't topped 90 since the 85-86 season. You were still playing, weren't you?
Man, Christ was a cowboy then.
They overtake New Jersey for the 6th spot in the East. I wasn't aware of that historical fact. Bruins, again, not #1 yet. They beat the Penguins at home. They're #1. They're back.
It was Prosper who fed the puck back. Watch Seaback hit him right at the blue line, right there perfectly, and he has split the defense, walking right in, but Osgood again gets a toe on it. You see him right there with that left skate. It came back and it was bouncing around like a pinball. He still hasn't got it completely covered, but finally he did. And the face-off will be in the Islanders' zone. So
caught up to by Cullimore, still trying to make a play though, and Olvestad comes back to chop at his stick and win the puck. So the Islanders keep winning despite the fact they've been outshot about 33-22 in a 9-game span. The Lightning have 12 shots on net to this point in the game. Dingman works that corner. Pratt on the point, had it tapped away by his Bister. Keefe gets to it, waits for the zone to clear. The pass for Dingman. Dingman, who had played very effectively for the Lightning before heading to the sidelines with those back spasms. Keefe flushes out Hammerling. Lead pass to Cherkasky. He's got his Bister, who is backing toward the line, turning and trying to take on Nolan Pratt. Lost the puck to Freddie Modine. His Bister down low. He's 6'4" and 230. Pass back to his Bister, rolled away to Keefe. Keefe trying to get it ahead to Nikita Alexiev. Splits the defense. Can't quite get a shot away as he worked between Aucoin and Janssen. Janssen, the longtime Islander, plays it out. Pratt doubles it across to Netskosh. Stan lobs it ahead for Richards. Settles it down and fires. Poked away by Janssen. Richards got it back and in front. Backhand try. It's stopped by Osgood on the attempt by Alexiev. Shot of the point. Skips wide. Alexiev has it. Jammed it out in front. The shot. And it's off the leg and wide as Richards let the shot go and was dumped by Webb. Great pressure by the Lightning here. Richards looking out in front for Kabina, stepping in for the blue line, and Blake escapes to the pocket. It's a 3-on-2. Back comes Aucoin, winding, firing. A save by Avi Bolden, skimming off him and going wide. And we had an Islander player playing that puck coming out of the bench, and a teammate on his way in. Here's Blake shooting. Avi Bolden the save, and we're going to whistle now. It's Webb and Kabina will battle in the goal mouth. Webb took an extra shot at Avi Bolden, and Kabina reacted to that. 13:51 to go in the second period. Lightning lead it 1-0.
in your chair too.
Yeah.
You asked him very nicely to move there, didn't you?
Yeah. Told him China was a great country. Here's Scatcher, chased by Prosper. Kip Miller comes by for it. His pass right to Olvestad. He'll steam ahead. Aucoin gets back. Olvestad backhand try, steered wide by Aucoin, centered, and it's chipped away by Van Emp. Olvestad gets it. Looks for Prosper, but the pass was tipped away by Kip Miller, who is playing for his brother Kelly Miller, one of the assistant coaches of this team. Kip Miller leaves the puck behind the net. Scatchard there. Outmaneuvers Pratt, guides it in the goal. Now that's tapped wide.
Well, you got to take that man physically out. You can't go for the puck back there.
A coin resting it, and it's snared by Hobby Bull, and he'll settle things down.
Just the 7th shot on goal for Hobby Bullen, and you might think that's an easy thing to have as a goaltender, but believe me, it's not. Watch this here. When you go for the puck, that was before that, but Scatchard made a real nice move to get around Pratt. And then a coin who has a really good shot. This time, though, he wanted the wrist shot just to make sure he got it through. See them right there. They both actually caught their skates, so he's going to get tripping. And he had to say something to Chris Rooney. Gave him an unsportsmanlike conduct call. So the Islanders will have the remainder of this period on the power play if they don't score.
Now the actual call, as we can see it, was tripping, but they call it hooking, and maybe that adds credence to the argument by Sarge. But nevertheless, it's Miller. Watched by Andrechuk. Back to a coin, loading up the big shot. Pad save by Hobby Bullen. And now we're going to get a battle out in front involving Cullimore and Isbister. And penalties resulting from this.
And Rooney's giving out another penalty to the Lightning. This is the guy that was in that fiasco when they gave the Lightning 3 straight 2-min short situations.
Oh, against the Sabres.
Yeah.
High sticking the call, so it will be a 2-minute, 2-man advantage for the Islanders. Freddie Modine now expressing his thoughts with Rooney out at center ice here. And the 3 Lightning skaters will be Dave Andrechuk, Pavel Kabina, and Stan Netskosh. Penalty at 16-15 for high sticking to Cullimore.
The thing that gets you a little upset is it doesn't go both ways with these guys. And that's the thing that's bothersome. And how many times we saw the Lightning have their 4 power play opportunities. You knew that they were going to get their chances. Yeah. You didn't think they were going to get them all at once.
I was just thinking the same thing, Chief. Good call. They do get them all at once. Potentially 3 power play opportunities on top of each other here. As a coin sets up with a pass to Pekka, over to Hammerlick. Side of the goal to Miller. Back to Pekka. He shanked the shot. A coin now to Hammerlick. Fakes that shot as Kabina comes out on him. A coin to Hammerlick. Down low to Miller. Out in front. Parrish is stopped. Rebound. And it's stopped again. Hobby Bullen. Great heroics there. 1:22 to go and a 2-man advantage for the Islanders. Kip Miller moves it to a coin. Dumps it toward the corner. Parrish trying to get to it. Crowd continues to boo the calls against the Lightning. Miller finds a coin, moving inside of the goal to Pekka. Pekka's got Parrish lodged right in front of Hobby Bullen. Pekka looking goal mouth. It's by Miller's stick. Comes back to Hammerlick. Andrechuk comes out to meet him now. Miller steps in front. He'll shoot himself. Saved by Hobby Bullen up near the face. A coin retrieves it. 45 to go in the 2-man advantage. Pekka. Parrish still standing in front, sailing it wide of Hobby Bullen. They continue to try to work from the worst possible angle when they got the guy with the hardest shot in the league. One of them, a coin to the blue line. 30 seconds to go. On the 2-man advantage, Isbister rolls it down to Bates. Back to Isbister. A coin to Hammerlick. Scuffs the shot. Tchaikovsky handles it now. Crosby, the forward that's out there. Tchaikovsky looking back to Hammerlick. Around to a coin. It was tipped by Crosby. He blocks another pass. They save the play to Bates. Winding it now to Isbister. 7 seconds in the 2-man advantage. Cullimore set to come out. Tchaikovsky closing in. Feeds it back to Hammerlick. Pressured by Crosby. Cullimore's back, 5-on-4. They spin the pass across. Now is a coin and taken away by the hustling Crosby. It's held in the zone by Hammerlick. Getting it now to Tchaikovsky. We've got 1:35 left in the second half of the Sarge double minor. Lightning trying to dig themselves out of a hold here, penalty-wise, and protect a 1-0 lead. Hammerlick shooting. They score. Deflected, I believe, by Isbister in front. The Lightning are going to complain about that. I think they feel that perhaps it might have been clipped with a high stick.
He said he was going to go out. He motioned, it appeared that he was going to go upstairs to check it out. Now remember, the stick only has to be above the crossbar of the goal, not above the shoulder. If it's above the crossbar, then it is illegal. We'll take a look at this shot now. Here's the shot. Look at it way up there. That's even above his shoulder, but this is the line you got to look for when you're in there for scoring a goal. It looked like Isbister to me had the stick even above his shoulder.
And for a guy who's 6'4", to have the stick that high, you got to assume it's above the crossbar.
It has to be. Here comes the shot. I don't know. It's hard to say there.
As he deflected it down and through Hobby Bullen.
The one from the end looked like it was above his shoulder and above the crossbar. The one from the goal, or pardon me, from the shooter, looks like it was an illegal goal.
Well, in skates, Isbister's got to be 6'6", 6'7". The crossbar is 4 feet high.
Hold on. Right here is what you're looking at. It was touching right there. It's hard to see if it's above the crossbar at that occasion. But there you see the puck right there. See it? Right there. Now you take it on and it goes down through Hobby Bullen's legs, but was it over the crossbar? That's the key factor.
Isbister, like the rest of us, waiting for the verdict. Tom Cowell is on the phone with Doug Kirkowitz, the video replay official working this game at the Ice Palace. 1:26 remains on Saric's penalty. It would end if this counts as a goal and would tie the score. If it's wiped off, the Lightning still shorthanded for that amount of time with their 1-0 lead intact.
Absolutely amazing how officials can make a change in a game very, very quickly.
Now, he's not standing straight up, so he's certainly not at a 6'4" height, but he is in skates.
There,
and the deflection
right
is just about shoulder height.
And is it higher than that? That's what you got to look at.
You think his shoulders are more than 4 feet off the ice. And they're going to count it. And that will do it for the power play. The Islanders end up 1 of 4 after that sequence of penalties, and Isbister scores his 17th goal of the season at 18:36. He ties it at 1.
It's absolutely amazing. You have one team completely dominating the other team. You hand out 3 straight penalties, 2 men short situation. Guess what? You think they changed the momentum of the game? The officials? Bet on that one, boys. Bet on it.
Hammerlick and Tchaikovsky pick up the assists on the goal. The thing is, you don't have a definitive ice level angle to look at that, and that could be their out on it, is that they have to have conclusive evidence that proves that it's a high stick. And maybe that is what they felt that was the case, but in any case, it counts, and Kabina starts it ahead with a pass off the skates of Alexiev. His pass at Alexiev. Nikita has it back, and he's flattened by Parrish, lands on the puck. Officials want him to play it. Now we get a whistle. And Pavel Kabina to open this third period. Lead pass, Alexiev with his speed, he'll get to it. Sharp angle, shooting, save, Osgood, and it's deflected wide by Modin as both defensemen collided. Modin shooting save off the head of Osgood. Hit him right in the mask. Richards back to Modin. Slides it in front. Alexiev tied up by a coin. Pratt plays it to Richards. Now to Modin, a save by Osgood. He stayed with it and made the save. 2 quick chances for Freddie Modin as well as one for Alexiev here in the first 30 seconds of the third. And here's Alexiev steaming in, shooting. Osgood out with a save. And as Alexiev flies into the end boards, he was checked by a coin. The Lightning get it down low, but it's taken over.
That was more of a trip than Sarich was on Pekka, Rick. He just took the feet right out from under.
But no penalty. There's the pass between the point man. It comes all the way back to Osgood. Lightning have 6 shots so far here and under 7 minutes in this third period. The Islanders have one. Pekka, the pass ahead for Parrish. He'll bring it in against Pratt. Pratt forces him to the corner. Parrish trying to hand it off to Pekka. Bates takes it. Pekka fires in front. It was by Pratt as well as the stick of Parrish. Parrish gets it back to Pekka. Looks to center. Can't find anybody. Bates. Getting hacked at by Pratt. And Nolan Pratt comes up with a puck for the Lightning. He'll chip it down the boards. Alexia trying to get to it. He's shouldered out of there by Hammerlick.
That's interference.
And Hammerlick with no attempt to play the puck. Dingman crushed Parrish on a hit as Sarge will lift it in. And Hammerlick getting to it. Now we got Cairns and Dingman in the corner. Dingman tossing aside his gloves and stick, and Cairns keeping his equipment on, and that will result in a penalty to Chris Dingman at 7:39, continuing the theme that you alluded to earlier, Chief.
It'll probably be an unsportsmanlike
goal by Isbister that has brought us to 1-1. Cullimore spreads things out. He'll drive it down the ice. Lightning scoring way back late in the first period. Dan Boyle on a rebound. Modine shot tipped down by Alexiev, and it bounced to Boyle, and he put it home. Cullimore throws a hit in that corner. The puck driven away by Sarge and down the ice. The coin will take it. Andrechuk keeps him honest. Joined by Olvestad here. Up front killing the penalty. Sarge and Cullimore defensively as the shot in is deflected by Olvestad. Cleared away by Sarge. He took a jolt from Isbister in doing so and is shaken up as he now goes to the bench. Penalty time at 1:09 remaining on the Dingman penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct. Pekka on the rush will send it in. It comes out to Tchaikovsky. In for Kip Miller. He is double teamed in there. The clearing attempt knocked down by a coin, and he kept it on the line. Gabina matches up with Pekka. It's scooped up now by Prospel. Prospel on a three-man rush, shorthanded. Prospel guides the play it back to Modine, cranking one, and it's deflected by a coin off the end glass. Prospel met there by Van Imp. We're down to 33 seconds on this Islander power play. Their attempt to take the lead as Prospel's getting to working over in that Islander zone. A great job of penalty killing as Olvestad, Netskosh, and Boyle come out to try to finish off this Islander power play. A coin will drill it in. Boyle, great shoulder hits there with Gavasha. Here's Parrish to Scatchard, and it's chipped off his stick. They score! It ended up in the net as Scatchard tried to cut in. The stick broke, and the Islanders take a 2-1 lead.
Well, when you're playing the puck and not the man, that's what's going to happen is you keep coming into the zone. And that's all Scatchard did was go right to the net. And Netskosh just tried to play the puck instead of just standing in front of him and taking him out of the play.
It's Boyle's stick that breaks.
Oh, but here's the play. He comes in right here. Watch right here. See, he won't go for the puck instead of just going up and taking the man. And actually, it comes in off of the Lightning, who came in here to knock it past Javi Bullet. But when a guy comes in that goal one-on-one, you take the man. Let the puck roll through to the goaltender. The stick checking will not work in this league. The players are too big, too strong.
Scatchard's 11th goal of the year. It's a power play goal. The Islanders are taking a timeout here with a 2-1 lead. Both their goals coming with a man advantage.
One shot on goal is what it's going to be. The only shot on goal in this power play. But it looked like the Lightning player coming in, if we can see it again, sweeping by, and I think he's the one who knocks it in the net. You see the play coming here. Here's the guy you got to watch right here. Watch the puck come in around there. See it come through there? And as Andrechuk is trying to sweep the puck away, I think he knocked the puck in his own net.
Scatchard gets the goal from Parrish and Bates.
How
at
can they give out
9:29.
2 assists when it looks like Andrechuk knocked it in his own net? Should be an unassisted goal.
I think if he had had full control and it went in, they would not award assists. Isbister and Netskosh were broken up. Let's see if we're going to get calls against them.
LeCavier is going to get a double minor for slashing, and Cairns is going to get a single for slashing. So Cairns, who usually is the guy that takes the bad penalties, has caused the Lightning to take 2 extra penalties and given them another power play. It's going to happen right here, right there, where you see it all there. There's the slash first by Cairns. That was what's when the penalty was called. They're giving them both 2 minutes each for slashing there. Now they're coming in and they're yapping and getting their sticks up here, and there's the slash on the leg by LeCavier. So he's going to get 4 minutes for slashing, and Cairns is going to get 2 minutes for slashing, and the Islanders will get their 6th power play. Everything was on ice and skating related. Now it's everything.
Bobby Boulin, after getting instructions from Craig Ramsey on the bench as to when he is going to come off, hands that puck, and Richards brings it ahead, drives it in, and it comes around to reach base. LeCavier trying to get possession, and that would be the signal. Now Bobby Boulin going to the bench. Here's Richards firing it in front, and the 6th skater on is Vinny Prospal. Still the Islanders penalty, 38 seconds left on it, and it's chipped down the ice and wide of the empty net by Adrian Aucoin, and Boyle's back for it. 1:41 remaining in the 3rd period. LeCavier cuts through center. LeCavier dashing in. He's slowed up by Pekka. Boyle takes it. Great move on Aucoin. Backhands it in deep. Andreychuk trying to get it in front to Kabina. It's off his left skate and bounce to Boyle. Boyle back to Richards. LeCavier couldn't tee it up for the one-timer. Richards with the crowd urging the Lightning to get a shot toward the net. Here's LeCavier shooting, and it's deflected as he scuffed the shot, broke his stick. Prospal has the puck. Hammerlick's penalty just about up. Richards firing it through. That's blocked by Blake, who's without a stick. Hammerlick back on. Islanders at full strength. Lightning 6 attackers continuing. Kabina now to Andreychuk. LeCavier in front. Boyle in front. The pass off the back of the goal. Under a minute to go now in the 3rd, and it's cleared out by Hammerlick. The race is on between Blake and Richards to get to it. Blake hooks it in front. Hammerlick scores, and it's 3-1 Islanders with 48.1 seconds to go.
Heads up play by Roman Hammerlick. Boy, I'll tell you what, they dumped it out and Blake just took off. Instead of just coasting back there and waiting for something to happen, Hammerlick just put the jets on himself and moved up into the play. In fact, I don't think Jason Blake knew it, and Hammerlick pounds his ice to let him know. All the Lightning did, the only guy back there was Brad Richards. He was trying to take him out, but then very quickly Hammerlick was right there. Lightning had 2 players back there, but not very quickly.
Hammerlick gets his 100th career goal, and it stings his former team on the empty net. His 10th of this season at 19-11.
Well, he got a bad call on him earlier in the game to set up a Lightning power play opportunity, and he comes out of the penalty box and clinches his victory for the Islanders.
Bobby Boulin back in the Lightning net. Aucoin trying to fire it in deep. It hit Netskosh as Modine trying to fight off a check and play the puck in. Too many blue jerseys on the scene. Netskosh beats Scatchard to the puck. 30 seconds remaining. Blake the only assist on Hammerlick's 10th at 19-11. And the puck deflected up into a section 106 here with 21.6 seconds to go. And now Scatchard and Netskosh are separated as we look at Corey Sarich.
He was one of the guys that got kind of dropped down in the pecking order when Pekka and Yashin came on board.
Pekka trying to chip that puck out of the zone. He does work it down the ice with 11 seconds remaining. And Sarich heading behind the net. The Lightning will look to their season finale in Sunrise at the National Car Rental Center on Sunday afternoon to try to get a win to finish off this 2001-2 season. A 3 o'clock start as the Lightning meet the Florida Panthers, and Lightning tonight coming your way at 2:30 on Sunday as the home season ends in disappointing fashion here. The Islanders beat the Lightning 3-1 before a big crowd of 19,869, sure to bump up the average of 15,612 for this season. The Lightning's attendance had been up about 700 fans a game over last year, and That will continue in the upward trend with his final home game, but it ends in disappointing fashion. And Chief, not at all unlike the way the home season started, that 3-2 game where the Lightning had a lead going into the third period. The Islanders came back, overtook the Lightning, but could do so only because they got brilliant goaltending from Chris Osgood.
Boy, did they ever. And again, you keep seeing you only get so many chances to score. You better take advantage of them. And Osgood, the goal post, everything was in their favor, but mainly Chris Osgood. Boy, did he ever have a tremendous game. And he actually kept his, Islanders in the game even in the start of this third period. Because, boy, the Lightning had about 5 or 6 great chances in the first couple of minutes. And Osgood was very sharp.
A save by Osgood, but Dan Boyle jumps all over the rebound. He gets his 8th. That opens the scoring. The Bolts getting jammed by the refs. Mike Pekka trips over Kerry Saric's foot. Saric gets a 4-minute double minor for that T-Bay. Now 2 men down. Roman Hammerlick with a shot deflected in front by Brad Isbister. That's his 17th. We're tied at 1. Third frame, Islanders awarded another power play. And yet again, they capitalized. Dave Scatcherd takes it hard to the net, jams it past Tabby Poulin. His 11th. Islanders go on to a 3-1 victory. The Islanders continue their red-hot play, 9 wins and 3 losses in their last 14 games. Let us bring you up to date on the Eastern Conference standings. This is exactly the way things shake down. All 8 playoff teams have been determined, and the Maple Leafs can still claim first place overall if they win Saturday against Ottawa and the Bruins lose their final game tomorrow night against Pittsburgh.
He could have drafted Danny Heatley, and he traded Todd Bertuzzi, Brian McCabe, and a draft pick to Vancouver for Trevor Linden, who, curiously enough, is back on the Canucks after stops in Montreal and Washington. And there were other deals we could note here, but why dwell on the negative? This season, Mike Milbury made all the right moves, hired the right coach, traded for the right center twice, and plucked the right goalie off the waiver wire. As a result, the Islanders' season turned out all right. They're in the playoffs, headed toward a possible 96-point season in Tampa Bay.
Roman Hammerlick off Brad Isbister, but waved off. Why? Well, they said it was a high stick, but let's watch it again. Clearly not a high stick. Isbister gets the goal, his 17th. Third period, 1-1. Islanders power play. They need to win this game if they have a chance to win their division. Bates. Scatcherd. He's a big Nickelback fan. 2-1 Islanders. Later third. Watch. Look at Vinny slash Eric Cairns. Possible suspension? I don't think so. I'll say no on that one. Islanders win 3-1 is the final score. So now with 94 points, Islanders end their season home to the Flyers on Sunday. They're now 5th.
To present the Bob Nystrom Award to a guy who's given his heart and soul to the New York Islanders. He always gives 110% and is willing to do whatever the team needs to get the win. He's a guy that's suffered through some adversity, but he's always persevered and battled back. He's a guy that you can count on for whatever the team needs. He gives 110%, and he doesn't mind to get in a scrap once in a while. So, ladies and gentlemen, could you please help me in congratulating Steve Webb.
One more big hand for number 20, Steve Webb.
So Steve Webb and Michael Pekka, recipients of postseason or end-of-season honors. It's the postseason honors they hope still lie ahead.
And Gagne, who played yesterday, and the speedster is out with the flu and just one healthy scratch. That's Jim Cummins for the Islanders.
Flyers won the Atlantic Division yesterday with their win over the Rangers. Had Philadelphia been held to 1 point or fewer yesterday afternoon, meaning 1 point or none, of course, then today's game would have been for the Atlantic Division Championship. But the Flyers have their 14th division title and are set to play the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah, Dan Blackburn played hard, didn't he?
Yeah, he was the only one.
Wow, he was some shot here from Dan McGillis. Looked like it hurt him off the left shoulder, but stayed in, and then made this save here. on John LeClaire. That one there on Adam Oates. And then Kim Janssen pushes one wide. Chris Osgood was spectacular in period number 1 as the Isles trail it.
And our scoring summary of the first is brought to you by Foxwoods Resort Casino, the wonder of it all in southeast Connecticut.
What a play by Claude Lapointe. What a play. He'll catch the puck. He'll knock it down here with his glove. Right there. Knocks it down. Now watch him turn, and this turns out to be a hard pass, folks, not a shot. It looks like a shot, but the head is up, and there it goes over the other side. Perfect. Right onto the stick of Hammerlick, who just redirects it in. There it is again. Head up all the way, and the perfect hard pass to Roman Hammerlick, who puts it in past Boucher to tie the game at 1.
Hammerlick's 11th of the year, is 101st in the National Hockey League after number 100 was delivered into an empty net in Tampa on Friday night.
Yeah, this was just a great play by Lapointe to find Hammerlick, and Hammerlick read it perfectly. There's the hard pass from Webb, knocked down by Lapointe. Now he looks, he's thinking of shot until he watch him keep his head up all the way. Perfect lesson for you young players out there playing. Keep your head up. Let your hands feel the puck.
You know what Claude Lapointe told us on the plane coming home from Tampa? He literally, over the last couple of weeks, has dreamt like every second or third night. He's awakened in the middle of the night after dreaming of winning the Stanley Cup here. That's how excited he is about the playoffs.
Telling us on the plane, not only dreaming about, but in the dreams, he's picturing himself, dreaming of himself, seeing himself carrying the Stanley Cup around the ice at the Coliseum.
Of course, what he didn't tell us, and I understand this from having investigated some sources, he also saw himself as the goaltender, as well as a defenseman, as well as playing all 3 forward positions in that game.
You know what? He'll do anything to win. We've seen him dive in front of shots to block them many, many times.
He's been a Nystrom Award winner. But no, that's how charged he is about these upcoming playoffs. He's dreaming about the cup, literally. Boy, would he deserve it as much as anybody around here. And Hammerlick with a shot, and that deflects off the glass. Hope Jeff's all right. He looked like he was in some pain there.
He got on the phone. I think he let the people upstairs know that he was okay. Or maybe he was canceling his tee time.
That I doubt. Here's Pavel Brendel driving on O'Coin, who just shoves him out of the way. Maybe O'Coin just shrugged him off. And now Scatchard for Kavasha. Nice play. Got knocked down. There'll be a penalty. Ole Kavasha draws a penalty. And the Islanders will go to the power play. Now, is Ole all right? A little slow to get up.
I think he got mostly stick with this one, but it might have been the left leg of Eric Weinrich as well. Weinrich came out to play him outside the blue line and stand up to break up the play. And it was the move right here. Watch the move that way. Yeah, see, he got him with the knee on knee and also the stick. Now Kavasha's back up, flexing that knee a little bit. Remember, he had some knee surgery just after the Olympic break. Favoring it a little bit.
It was the right knee that was operated on.
That's the left knee that's bothering him now. That's a dangerous play. Hey, Weinrich came out thinking he's in perfect position. And then Ole Kavasha with the...
I see Lappy kind of turn around, and I see the spots wide open, and he just make a great pass in my stick, and I had a wide open net. I mean, it's obviously lucky goal, but we taking it.
All right, the Islanders will take it.
The rebound! Dave Scatchard with a power play goal, and the Islanders lead it 2-1. They did not stop.
Remember, in the second period, Dave Scatchard, or in the first period, he didn't play the power play. He wins the face-off here. Now watch from the top here. The shot comes through, just an easy wrist shot. Scatchard going there. The rebound by Kavasha, and then Scatchard just won't quit. Won't stop on the play, and eventually puts it through the legs to tie the game. Boucher was there, but couldn't fall on it. A similar goal was allowed by Czechmanek yesterday, shorthanded to Peter Nedved. And this one Boucher can't find. Scatchard stays with it. Islanders lead it.
50 seconds into the period on the power play. And now Tchaikovsky back at the Islander blue line for O'Coin. Cross to Cairns. And it dribbles into the Philadelphia zone. Played off the boards by Weinrich. And chipped out of the zone by Mark Recchi. Dave Scatchard. 5 points now for Scatchard in his last 3 games. His 12th goal of the year, his second in that span. 3-game time span. John LeClaire. They'll move it out to center. Kavasha and O'Coin get the assists.
And how it's worth repeating, and we've talked about this often in the last month or so, the importance of having your third and fourth line players with the ability to score goals as you go into the playoffs. Players other than the ones that you normally count on. And for Scatchard to pick up his play like he has, Kavasha to do the same thing, it's a huge boost as you get ready for the playoffs to have more balanced scoring.
At the blue line, Van Amp, a shot blocked by Williams, recovered by Blake, and a save by Lapointe inadvertently. Then Lapointe got knocked down. I don't think Boucher made that save on Blake. I think it hit Claude Lapointe in the skate, and now Webb and Richardson.
Yeah, but Webb's staying away. Richardson's getting a penalty for cross-checking Lapointe. What happened was, with Richardson and Webb, when Webb went to hit him in the far corner, Richardson got his stick up. And at that point, Webb looked at the referee for a call. He didn't get one. Here it is right here. Watch him. See how he gets his stick and the elbow up? Now Webb says, hey, I had my stick down. I had the elbows down. The play continues. They battle. Watch Richardson cross-check there. Down goes Lapointe. Down goes Webb. And the Islanders nearly make this, boy, they nearly make it a 2-goal game. As Blake took the shot, looked like it hit the skate maybe of Claude Lapointe.
That's what I thought at first, and then looking at the rebound from the front of the net angle, I thought maybe Boucher and O'Coin flubbed the pass, but Hammerlick scrambles back to protect him. And now Murray steps in front of O'Coin. Flyers shorthanded for another 50 seconds. A giveaway by Hammerlick, and a great play by Osgood to slide out and get it from Ranheim.
Ranheim did not expect that to happen. He had no idea that Osgood was coming out because he was being bothered from behind. And by the time he looked up, Osgood had already anticipated the play and knocked the puck off his stick.
Bates swings it in. Parrish overskated it. Fedotenko can't get it past Isbister. Izzy got help from Parrish, but eventually it was Terrien working it loose. And we're down to 17 seconds left on the power play for the Islanders. Van Imp, the recipient of that Fedora cross-check, lugs it to the red line, but then turns it over. Back comes Fedotenko, one man back. Fedotenko fires and missed off the glass. That came hard around, but just a little too far for Bates. Bates got to it, had to wait. Now Parrish moves up, shoots one wide, just as the second penalty, the one to Williams, expires. Islanders had 3 shots in what was a total of 3 minutes and 4 seconds of consecutive power play time.
Because they didn't fold. You're right. They were sold by Peter Laviolette right from the very first day of training camp, and he did an excellent job in that department, saying we are going for the playoffs, guys, and we are going for the Stanley Cup like everybody else. Now, he wanted that as the long-term focus for them, and it was great, but he really sold it to him. He's a very convincing guy. And when they signed Pekka, they signed Yashin, they brought in Adrian O'Coin, but then the ultimate kicker was when they were able to pick up Chris Osgood off the waiver draft. That made the ultimate difference.
Desjardins centering pass. Hammerlick sends Brendel tumbling. Ronick away from Jason Blake. Terrien. Blake breaks it up on the rim. Tries to steal it in front. Justin Williams steps out and wedge away. Webb bangs him anyway. Desjardins. Williams. Terrien in the right place. Ronick touches it past Hammerlick. Comes all the way in toward Osgood.
Webb, LaPointe, and Blake, those 3 guys have played so effectively this season when they've been together. A bulldog and a pork chop. They don't care that they're overmatched size-wise a lot of times, especially by a team like the Flyers. They're on you, they're in your face, they're hacking and whacking at you, biting at your ankles, whatever it takes.
The intensity of the playoffs. You can feel it building. Let's go Islanders. They're feeling it here on the island. Pekka fakes the shot off McGillis' skates. Pekka. Chandler knocks it down. Pekka turns in the circle shot. Saved by Boucher. Richardson in front of his own goal. Philadelphia dominated the Rangers yesterday, as Brian said earlier. Bill Barber estimating 70 shots directed toward the Rangers goal in the win that clinched the Atlantic Division and sewed up the #2 seed for the Flyers. They have nowhere to go with a win or a loss today.
They played basically a careful game, I would describe it here. They're trying to stick to business, nothing flashy. If there's opportunities there, they're certainly trying to take them. They haven't cashed in on all of them. John LeClair's breakaway was probably the best example, but certainly the Flyers did not play a bad game.
Bobby Clark has put a lot of the pieces in place, and in Philadelphia they expect great things. This is, after all, the 14th division title by the Philadelphia Flyers. Brashear steers it in front. It comes off Fedotenko's skate. Remember, the Flyers were in the original expansion in the late 1960s, so that's about half the time they come away with a division title. And they've had the cup a couple of times. Fedotenko knocks down Isbister in front of the Isles bench. That gets some people's attention. Janssen threads the needle. Ranheim stumbles on the way through. Hammerlick launches it. This will be icing against
Blake, Webb, Van Imp and Hammerlick. Webb tried to get it deep, couldn't. But now LaPointe does. McGillis leaves it in the corner. Luke Richardson crunched by Webb.
That's 11.
Ought to get 2 for that. Not 2 minutes either. 2 hits. Blake to LaPointe. Blocked by Richardson. LaPointe again. Feeds Hammerlick. That shot deflected. It might have gone off of Primo and wound up tipping over the net. Now it's Blake for LaPointe. Claude LaPointe turning, holding. Blake lost the helmet. McGillis takes Blake in. He's got a hold of his neck. Richardson steps into LaPointe. Brashear shoots it down the ice. Hammerlick could have played it, so no icing here, as Hammerlick has to come back and take that hit from Fedotenko. Sent up the boards weakly. Roenick didn't hold it cleanly. Now he throws it across the blue line, and the Flyers have to come out. There's going to be a penalty to the Islanders here.
Hammerlick.
A young player when Joe Nieuwendyk was traded by the Calgary Flames. They said, Jerome who in Calgary?
Yeah,
now everybody in the league knows.
Yeah, there was one player involved in that trade, Corey Millen.
Final 9 seconds of the penalty on Hammerlick. Boucher heading towards the bench. The Philadelphia net is empty. Final minute of the 3rd period. Van Imp put it off of Roenick. Roenick grabs it back. Got hit by Van Imp. Grendel on the puck now. Penalty is over. The puck gets loose. LaPointe racing after it with an empty net. Claude LaPointe scores!
He's the one who should have scored, right?
Makes all the sense in the world.
82nd game, shorthanded into an empty net. It was a bad pass from Pavel Grendel that really put Philadelphia in a bind. The Islanders try to clear it. Roenick does a good job, and then Roenick tries to cut in close to the net. Can't do it. Here's Grendel. Watch him just throw it back. And it was just a bad pass for Mark Recchi to handle. And then the effort, the finish.
Well,
not many do it better.
Not only are the Islanders going to the playoffs, and this goal by LaPointe seemingly seals this win over the Flyers, the Islanders are going to play under probably the brightest spotlight that shines during the Stanley Cup playoffs, at least as long as the Toronto Maple Leafs are in it, because the Islanders are going to open the Stanley Cup playoffs in the capital of hockey, Toronto, Ontario, with all of the league's media watching so closely. And the crowd now at the Nassau Coliseum with 20 seconds to go will salute this great Renaissance season of the New York Islanders. They're chanting playoffs. And now it's time for the postseason. Do you believe in symmetry? Last year, the Islanders won 21 games all season. This year, they won 21 on the road alone. This was their 21st win at home in front of the 21st sellout crowd of the year.
Now I do.
These people believe in a lot more than symmetry. The Islanders, last in the league last year, 30th among 30 teams, will finish potentially 7th overall this season.
And no worse than 8th. What a year it's been.
The Islanders won 10 of their last 14 games. Especially impressive when you consider that even their appearance in the playoffs was somewhat in doubt right around the middle of March. But then Osgood, right there, became the goaltender that he was over the first 6 weeks of the season.
You know, the other interesting thing, Howie, and we've talked about Coach of the Year and postseason awards and that type of thing. What about Executive of the Year? Where does Mike Milbury fit in there? How many votes is he going to get? You know, with the team finishing with 52 points last year, 96, a 44-point improvement. How many votes is Mike Milbury going to get? He should certainly get plenty.
Do the math. From 30th to 7th or 8th, a 44-point improvement should leave him right at the top of the list.
I agree.
For Executives of the Year. And that would be fitting, too, when you consider the tough times that Mike Milbury had here. And, you know, they're chanting Ozzy. And, Joe, I'm just going to go back to a point that I made now a month ago. The game in Columbus was a tough one for Chris Osgood. He gave up 3 goals in the first period. None of the goals were good by any stretch of the imagination. He had been lifted the game before that after giving up 3 goals in the first period. And that night in Columbus, Peter Laviolette stayed with Chris Osgood. I don't know if Ozzy was half expecting to be lifted that night or not. But the fact remains that Peter Laviolette that night said, listen, don't look over your shoulder. You're the goaltender. Go straighten yourself out. He played a great last 2 periods in Columbus, even though the Islanders would wind up losing the game 4-2. But from that point on, Chris Osgood became the goaltender that he was over the first 2 months of this season and was during his Stanley Cup days. Sometimes there are tangible turning points to a season. And for Chris Osgood, it might well have been what seemed like the depth for him. March 8th in Columbus.
I think Detroit is the most difficult place to be a goaltender, the most difficult city to be a goaltender. And he endured an awful lot there, went through some tough times, went through some great times in Detroit. And when called upon here to step up and show some of that leadership and show the experience of what he went through in Detroit, I think without question he did. I mean, start with the first month of the season when he was the NHL's Player of the Month. Very deserving of that when his goals against was about 1.6 for the first month. He had some tough times in between, but in the last month to 6 weeks, Howie, I think he's just been terrific. He has stepped up and his focus has been right on.
And now the players are doing their part as the fans have been asked to hang out here because the players are literally giving their shirts off of their backs to selected ticket holders. Each player will yank off his game jersey, presumably sign it. I think Adrian O'Coin just signed that jersey over to the fan. Roman Hamrlik will give his out now and sign it over. And the Islanders with plenty to celebrate and much to anticipate. Islanders finished with 42 wins, 28 losses, 8 ties, 4 overtime losses. And I don't know even if Michael Pekka, the day that he was introduced back in August at a press conference in Plainview, would have envisioned the season to have gone this well. Same for Alexei Yashin.
I agree. I mean, there were, you know, as Peter Laviolette has talked about, Mike Milbury has talked about, there are a lot of players and a lot of people that, you know, needed a change and wanted to respond to a challenge. And a lot of these people have. And I think of the conversation I had about 10 days ago with Michael Pekka regarding, you know, these games that were being played and the importance of making it to the playoffs. He says, you know, we're not talking about making it to the playoffs. We're talking about preparing to play in the playoffs and what it's going to take and how we're going to have to play once we get there. So that's where the focus has been for this team. And arguably in the last 2 or 3 weeks, Howie, Yeah, they've had a few, there's been a few times when they haven't played their best hockey, but when they've had to have stepped up, they did, and they have.
Big hand for Ola Kavasha, and you talk about a player turning the fans in his favor. Ola Kavasha has done all of that. You know how many points the Islanders finished with this year? 96. The same number that they accrued during their last Stanley Cup season. 82-83. Yeah,
more symmetry.
Yeah, more symmetry, right? Yeah, there were a couple of extra games, and there were 4 overtime losses, but so what? You get the idea. And it couldn't have happened without everything that was orchestrated from training camp on by Islanders head coach Peter Laviolette. Peter is standing by downstairs with Deb Kaufman.
Thanks, guys. So it started in Lake Placid with training camp, and it ends today with 96 points and a 4-5 matchup with Toronto. So much to talk about, but was there a turning point in the season for you to get to now?
I think that this may sound odd. I think the turning point may have been the first game of the year and going forward with a winning streak that kind of changed the atmosphere here and changed expectations, and the guys deserve a ton of credit for that because they bought into it. But it sounds funny, a turning point happening so early in the year, but for us to come out and start winning the way we did and build a feeling not only from inside of our locker room, but the fans and the media and everybody on Long Island, I think that was important for us to get off to the right start, and that may have been what jumped us through the whole year.
Well, Chris Osgood gave the team a lot of credibility. He became very important, especially when you got the 11 wins early. His toughest time, maybe in that Columbus game we talked about today, we gave up 3 quick goals. You stayed with them. How important was that in your relationship with him, and how important will he be in any potential playoff run?
Well, if you can name me a team that doesn't have a goaltender that's important in a playoff run or a playoff situation, it's slipping my mind off the bat here, but we have 2 great goaltenders. We've said that all year long. And Ozzy was going through a bit of a spell where I think he wished he were playing better. We had a tremendous amount of confidence in him. My conversation was pretty simple. It just said, Ozzy, you're the guy. We all believe in you, and it's up to you to carry the load here and get it done. There's no pressure on you. And he responded well. It was a good conversation. It wasn't a panicking conversation. It was just 2 guys talking on a plane.
All right, so now we know it's Toronto. Let's talk about the electricity in the city, what it'll be like to be in the spotlight in Hockey Town and playing against Toronto, and in the early matchups, at least in your mind.
Well, I think that obviously Matt Sundin is somebody that is going to demand a lot of respect from our team in that first line because they bring so much. They have good goaltending and solid defense. They play a fast-paced, up-and-down game. It's not a New Jersey type game that slows down through the middle. So, and we're up for that. We seem to match up fairly well against that, and we're looking forward to it. I mean, we're going up to Toronto, which might be. I'd find anybody hard to make an argument that it's not the hottest place for hockey in the world. I mean, Toronto is where hockey was born. So. We're all looking forward to that.
All right, so tell us what you think about your team now, how you'll handle the next few days. What's the plan?
Well, I'm tremendously proud of the guys and the way that they performed all year, and to finish with 96 points, and depending on one game this year, I mean, it comes out to be, I think, 7th in the league. So I'm really proud of them, and I say this with no disrespect to anybody else, but you have to have great ownership. You have to have a really brilliant general manager. Coaches play a part in it, but every team in the league has that. And when it comes down, the bottom line is when it comes down to winning, it's the guys on the ice who win and lose hockey games. And those guys bought into something. They paid a tremendous price all year long. We went through some good times, some bad times, and in the end, it's the guys who got it done and deserve the credit.
So now the fun begins.
I can't wait. I mean, it's been a while here in Long Island. It's new to some of us. It's certainly new to me, as far as the National Hockey League playoffs go, and I think we're all excited about it. And we'll take tomorrow off. We wanted to end the season on a good note and a good stretch, and I think we did that, and now we'll give them a little bit of rest, and we'll move forward. We'll prepare as coaches. We'll get them prepared by Tuesday or Wednesday, and we'll feel good about dropping the puck on Thursday.
All right, well, our congratulations to Peter Laviolette and the Islanders, and guys, let the games begin.
All right, Deb, you certainly have that right. as the Islanders continue to sign the shirts off of their backs. And you know what else has happened this year? The Islanders have won back Long Island. It's wonderful to see that logo worn as proudly as it is once again by so many people here on the island. And, you know, you think back to the fisherman jersey fiasco, the change in the logo, and I honestly believe, going back those 6 years now, that the prior ownership, when they changed the logo, you know, they kind of had their hearts in the right place, because what they wanted to do was find a way that the Islanders could wear something that typified Long Island. And what we found out in short order was that it wasn't a fisherman and it wasn't a lighthouse. But the thing that most typifies Long Island to a lot of people is, in fact, the New York Islanders. And that's what that logo stands for. And that's why it is so, so special to see the kids wearing it again, on the caps, on their backs, to go into stores and see the Islander decals and the calendars, and the bumper stickers are coming back. Attendance was up 3,200 this year as the Islanders once again became the pride of Long Island.
And isn't it interesting, Howie, how over the course of the last 12 months, that when you talk about attendance up 3,200, think of the amount of times you're out at a grocery store, or at the bank, or at the post office, or someplace, or at a restaurant, where you've run into people that suddenly this year they wanted to start talking hockey again. Where in at least the first 3 years that I was here on the island, no one on Long Island wanted to talk about it, and how could you blame them because of what was happening? And now they want to talk about it. Now they talk about last night's game and the game 3 games ago, and did you see the play Yashin made, and how about Osgood, and how about Pekka, what a difference he's made in leadership, and where Bates come from. He wants to talk hockey, and it's such a great feeling, and it's so much fun. And for those that, again, didn't get a chance to see playoff hockey 8 years ago, wait till you see it now. It's some kind of fun.
Pick the most exciting Islanders game you saw this year and magnify it exponentially, because that's what playoff hockey is all about. Think back to a couple of the games this year here at the Coliseum. The last game against the Rangers, actually the Toronto games, because they're played at such a high tempo. The Dallas game in here, first month of the season. Those were playoff games that are going to be surpassed now by the excitement that comes along with being in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Islanders have twice met the Toronto Maple Leafs in Stanley Cup play. In 1978, when the Islanders were inching towards their Stanley Cup maturity, they were eliminated by Lanny McDonald in Game 7 in overtime. Leafs winning that series 4-3. And then in 1981, showing that the Islanders had in fact grown up en route to Cup number 2. In the first round, the Islanders swept the Maple Leafs in 3 straight games, when that first round was a best-of-5. Now it's a best-of-7, and unofficially, what we understand, and again, this is not to be taken to the bank just yet, but we are hearing that the Islanders will open in Toronto on Thursday, that Game 2 will be on Saturday at the Air Canada Centre, and that because of concert commitments to Paul McCartney and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young here at the Coliseum, Game 3 would be played after a 2-day break here at the Coliseum on Tuesday night, 9 days from now, with Game 4 2 days after that. So Thursday, Saturday in Toronto, the following Tuesday and Thursday here on the island. That is unofficial, but that's what we're hearing. So long, fishermen. Hello, Islander logo. You're back in the playoffs.
Too late to win the Atlantic Division, but good enough to clinch the 5 seed in the Eastern Conference. And it'll be the Toronto Maple Leafs and the New York Islanders sometime in the next couple of days, beginning up at the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. Asked the head coach what he thought, Stan, the turning point of the Islanders season was. What do you think it was?
Well, I saw what he meant by the opening run,
I agree.
and no question about that. But to me, it was when they started their nosedive. After that, and a lot of the skeptics said, well, they're going to go into the tank, and that's the end of the Islanders. And there were about 3 periods over the entire season when they hit slumps, and it looked like they were going to go down, down, down. And each time they showed the resiliency. They bent, but they never broke. And I give Garth Snow a lot of credit. I remember he pitched a shutout in Philadelphia. I believe it was a 1-0 game. And it was this resiliency. And we saw this right here in the home stretch where they played without Alexei Yashin, today without Kenny Johnson, and there was enough balance overall, and a very, very smart coach.
I remember saying I thought the most important point of the season was when they got out of Toronto with 1 point. It was an overtime loss, but the Devils had caught up with them. It was critical. It was after the Columbus game. They'd had the closed-door meeting, and I thought even if it was a 1 point, getting out of Toronto was huge. Oddly enough, they're headed back there, and there's some more symmetry. I thought that was the biggest point of the year.
Well, you and I are on the same wavelength, Deb. I went to the coach right after that, and I said, Peter, I'm concerned for your team. And his words were three, don't be concerned. We will be all right. He had a lot of confidence in his men, and they delivered.
And he said the same thing to the general manager, Mike Milbury, who at some point got nervous and said that he went to the coaching staff, and Peter looked him right in the eye and said, don't worry, we'll be fine. But he had to do that to his general manager as well.
And he also, the coach, regenerated a key player, and that's Oleg Kvasha, because when the big guys or the key guys start to slip, the reserves have to step in, and Kvasha came through, delivered overtime goal, and even in today's game he was a factor. And we have to say again, I told you at the end of the first period that the Islanders looked like they were playing golf, and then they came back in the second and third, and they took the game away.
All right, Stan, and interestingly, Peter was sitting right here when they were cheering Oleg Kvasha, and he had a wry comment like, oh, now they love him, as we go upstairs to a guy we love, Howie Rose.
Oh, thanks, Deb. I appreciate that. Now, let's see. Adrian Aucoin is ready for the playoffs. He played 34 minutes and 14 seconds this afternoon. And, really everybody else pretty much wound up with their regular complement of ice time by the time Peter Laviolette was finished doing the maneuvers that he did early in the second period, when he basically had Scatchard and Lindgren out there virtually the entire first 5 or 6 minutes. But, clearly the Islanders have showed moving down the stretch here, winning 10 of their last 14, that they are ready for the playoffs, that they are back on the track that they were on early in the year. And that has to be a very reassuring thing to Islander fans who remember the 11-1-1 and 1 start, and then saw the team basically wind up playing at or below 500 for the next few months. But the strong finish reinforces the strong start. And so now the Islanders will head into the playoffs with some momentum, going under the brightest glare in the whole Stanley Cup playoffs, Toronto, Ontario, against the Leafs. Peter Laviolette has led them there. We'll be back.
Here you go.
Take it 5. The captain joins us. Born in Toronto, grew up in Toronto. Glad to be playing Toronto.
We are. I think a lot of people kept talking about Carolina being a great draw. But I think what Toronto gives us is a lot of guys looking forward to playing Toronto, because I think it gets you mentally prepared a little bit better, and it's going to make us, have to be a little sharper. I think going into Carolina, there's a tendency that maybe we would have been a little careless. It wouldn't have been from lack of preparation or approach to the game, but I think just everything surrounding it, everybody thought Carolina was a team to play because they're the easiest seed. But I think Toronto's a great matchup for us. It has been all year.
Well, nothing against the town of Raleigh, but hockey is new. I mean, there's nothing like going to Toronto and being the 4-5 matchup against the Leafs with all the attention that will be on the series when it opens up there. I think that'll be great.
Absolutely. We've got some guys without playoff experience, and a lot of guys that do. It's not a whole lot. So what I think going to Toronto does, it gets everybody involved. It really, it's going to allow everybody to really soak up what playoff hockey is all about. Playing in Toronto in playoff time is the funnest place to play, and to beat them will be even much better. So everybody's looking forward to it. We're going to enjoy a day off tomorrow and then get back to work on Tuesday.
Okay, so take us through the end of the game today. The empty netter, clawed the point scores, you put it out of reach, the final horn sounds, and take us through what was going on the ice.
Well, I think a lot of guys were sitting back, really taking in the response from the crowd. I think it's been just a great response all year that we've had from the crowd and the fans. They've embraced us from day one, and I think from the ownership, the commitment they've made from Mike Milbury all the way down, from the coaches all the way through the players and the trainers, everybody bought into this all together right from day one in Lake Placid, and I think that allowed us to become a team. And I know we've had our ups and downs, but through it all, we've stuck together, and I think that's what's made us a good team. What have you enjoyed the most about this season? What's been the most difficult? Well, I think the thing I enjoyed the most was just the group of guys we had. When you play for guys that you love and you're going to go to war for, you're going to have success like we did. Everybody's in it together. There's no one guy or small group that goes off and does their own thing. Everybody's together, and I think if there's anything tough from a personal standpoint, it was just coming back from a year off wasn't the easiest thing. I think from the start I was a little high emotionally, looking forward to getting back into it. But there were some points mentally that I was getting a little burnt out. It was just hockey overload for me after a year off. But I got through it great. The coaching staff, spotted me some great days off, and I feel very rejuvenated here for the playoff run.
So as we get ready for this playoff run, think back to the last experience you had in the playoffs, and what changes about the game maybe the most when you get into the postseason?
Well, the things, people talk about the little things during the regular season that help win hockey games. The one-on-one battles, the work around the blue lines. Those things are no longer little things. Those are big things because one mistake either way can make a difference in a hockey game. It's such a game with a switch of momentum. It could be you going your way and then boom, one thing, and all of a sudden, the other team's got a lot of momentum because the playoffs are so full of emotion. And I think the team that can just harness it the best and use it to their advantage when they have it will be better off.
All right, everything is magnified when the Stanley Cup playoffs begin as we go back to Howie.
All right, and don't forget it was Michael Pekka who engineered that big closed-door meeting after a loss in Ottawa in mid-March that signaled the turning point of the year. Really, this game featured 3 goals of the game. They're all brought to you by Bud Light, proud supporter of the NHL. Nice setup by Claude Lapointe. He finds Roman Hamrlik. Bang! That tied the game at 8:22 of the second period. The game winner, Scatchard, relentless, along with Kavasha in front of the net. Scatchard at 50 seconds of the third period before Claude Lapointe sealed it with the empty netter. Hamrlik, Scatchard, and Lapointe all score the Bud Light goals of the game in the regular season finale. The Islanders gave their shirts off their backs to an appreciative sellout crowd.
Islanders playing Toronto. Steve Webb gave one lucky fan the shirt right off his back, and he's dressed and joins us now as we talk about the Islanders getting ready for the playoffs, and take us through your moment as the final horn sounded after Claude Lapointe put in the empty netter, and you knew it was Toronto and you knew the regular season was over.
Yeah, it was a good 82 games that our team put forth this year, and I think like last night we were sitting at home. We weren't sure what was going to happen. We were flipping between 2 games last night: the Toronto-Ottawa game and then the Jersey-Washington game. And we wanted to get things settled. I don't know if we wanted it last night, but maybe come out here and go through the game. But it was kind of nice to leave on a great winning note where we had to battle through the game and carry it over to the playoffs. But it was nice to know we're playing Toronto and we're going into start a big rivalry.
All right, and you're from near there, so it's good for you to be going home.
Yeah, I'm about 25 minutes outside of Toronto, so there's a few of us from around the area, and it's a pretty exciting moment. But just to get that going, it's a great atmosphere up there, and the Long Island's been great. Coming down the stretch, the fans have just been loud, and it's great. It's great enthusiasm they're showing, and we're feeding off it.
All right. Well, the fans were loud, and Steve Webb had quite a moment before this game ever started. Bobby Nystrom, the legendary New York Islander, awarding Steve Webb with this year's annual Bobby Nystrom Award for his grit and determination. And then you got it going on the ice. It was a very physical game. Take us through your day today.
Just wanted to, when you're coming down at the end there, this game didn't really mean much to the Philadelphia team, and I just wanted to let everybody know that we're here to play hockey. And there's an 82-game schedule. We want to play the whole 82 games out, and I think I just wanted to get the blood flowing in the room and on the ice, and I think I did that. And I just wanted to get everybody going and get everything started tonight.
Well, you've certainly had the blood flowing a couple of times this year, overcoming a fractured hand. How about the Bobby Nystrom Award today?
It was unbelievable. It's a great honor to win that. Bobby's a well-known man around the Long Island and New York area. If you mention the Islanders, Bobby Nystrom's name comes up right away. So it's a great honor to win that award and follow in the footsteps of a great man.
Well, you've been around Long Island for a couple of years, and it's been a long drought. Can you talk about finally, breaking through, having really the competitive team that you have this year, and really a chance to go far in the Stanley Cup playoffs?
Yeah, it's quite a difference from the last few years playing at the end of the season. I think we were out in January a few times, but it's come down to the wire, and you're battling for 5th or 6th spot. I wish we were battling for 2nd spot. That would have been nice today, but they got the win yesterday. But it's just it's the people of Long Island. It's the enthusiasm. It's the smiles again. The dressing rooms, the smiles around Long Island that I haven't seen in a long time. So it's really nice to be a part of it. And the older Islanders are around, and they keep talking about it. And it's a great place to win. So I'm very excited for what's coming down the road.
All right, one last thing, just about the game today. Second period, first 5 minutes, Peter Laviolette had the same line out there for 4 or 5 minutes. What was that?
I think he's just trying to get the rest of the guys going. I think he just saw 5 guys actually wanted to play tonight, and I think the other guys are kind of just sitting there waiting to go. But I think he just, I don't know, I've never done that before, and I think that's the longest shifts I've ever had. I'm used to 15 to 20 second bursts out there, but I had to be a little more composed out there. It's a little different out there, but I think he got everybody's attention, and Ozzy stood on his head for those 5 minutes, which really helped us, and to keep us there in the game for that. But I think everybody came flying out of the gates after that.
All right, so Peter Laviolette sending a message even today, and the message has definitely gotten through to these players for 82 games, and now the playoffs start as we go back upstairs to Howie.
All right, Deb, thanks. You know what? That turned out to be a pretty good move when you consider that the Islanders had been badly outplayed in the first period, really didn't look like they had their legs, were somewhat lethargic, and then from that point on, when Peter made his point about who was going and who wasn't, the Islanders took over. They outshot Philadelphia 11-3 in the second period and continued their dominance right throughout the third as they won the game 3-1 and now can look forward to the Toronto Maple Leafs beginning on Thursday night at the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. And of course there was another ramification of this win as it affects the playoff standings, and that is the fact that now the New Jersey Devils know that they will play the Carolina Hurricanes. And that can be a little on the feisty side, too, because whichever team the Devils would have played would have been something of a grudge match going back to Domi and Niedermeyer last year when the Devils played Toronto, but also in New Jersey series against Carolina. Remember that Scott Stevens gave Shane Willis a concussion with a huge hit. So there are no doubt some Carolina Hurricanes with long memories. That's got interesting possibilities as well, of course, as the Islanders in Toronto. And you know the other 2 series are set now. One plays 8, so Boston will play Montreal. That's a tradition that goes back right to the beginning of the National Hockey League. And also you've got Philadelphia locked in now against the Ottawa Senators. But the one that everybody here on Long Island is interested in, the New York Islanders and the Toronto Maple Leafs, first round Stanley Cup opponents. The Islanders celebrate their 42nd win of their Renaissance season. They win the season finale 3-1. Islanders end their regular season with 42 wins, 28 losses, 8 ties, and 4 overtime losses. Added up, and you've got 96 points. The most points the Islanders have registered since they put that 4th Stanley Cup banner up there in '82 and '83. And, of course, there were some minor differences there. He's going to play in the playoffs. And so the Islanders, on the day that the regular season ended, have all kinds of things to look forward to, apart from just having gotten this game against the Philadelphia Flyers over with. Because this one had significance. The Islanders' first-round opponent was in doubt all the way through this game. If the Islanders had lost or tied, or even lost in overtime, they would have played the Carolina Hurricanes. Statistically, you look at the regular season, you say, so what? Carolina lost to the Islanders 3 out of 4, so did the Toronto Maple Leafs. But you know what? Even though Dave Scatchett, who scored the winning goal, is from Western Canada, there's something special about going up to Toronto at playoff time. And you could use all the fortification you can get, too, even in the form of a couple of spare goaltenders. But this afternoon, the real goaltender, Chris Osgood, was the real deal again. Coming up big, Claude Lapointe hit the empty net. Joe Micheletti, Stan Fischler, Deb Kaufman, our entire crew. I'm Howie Rose. Revisit this wonderful season. Shoots, and he scores! The Islanders win it in overtime! Michael Pekka! closes in. He shoots. He scores! A short-handed goal for Michael Pekka. Sets up Hammerlick to Yashin. His drive, he scores! Sean makes it to the Montreal zone. Waits, feeds, cross ice. Yashin scores! And the Islanders win it. Yashin in overtime. Basha with Sketcher. For Sketcher, he scores! Here's Janssen stepping up, shooting, he scores! Kenny Janssen! Isbister to Yashin, down low, score! Touch from Jepkin! Jerkowski to Isbister, he scores! Jerkowski gets a pick, shoots, he scores! Naslund will try to tie the game, and here he comes against Osgood. Saved by Osgood! Kabasha trying to get through. He shoots. He scores! Kabasha wins it in overtime. And at long, long last, the New York Islanders will join the chase for the Stanley Cup. The Islanders have made the playoffs.
If the Islanders win, they would play the Maple Leafs in the first round. If the Islanders lose, Toronto would then get the Devils. Now, judging by the Leafs' playoff success against the Devils in postseasons gone by, you can almost hear the Buds cheering, "Go Islanders, go," as they drink their many Buds on this day. Hey, Bud, there's Peter Laviolette. Win in the Islanders, yes, they play the Leafs, lose, and they play Carolina. The arithmetic is pretty simple. First period, Ruslan Fedotenko with a shot. Return to center play, baby. Just like Elvis Presley would say, return to center, because he gets it back, and he scores, and the Flyers lead it 1-0. Now, Todd Federer and Steve Webb. Federer, the former Regina Pat, the former PA Raider. He played for both those teams. He's a tough guy. He's a Western boy. He goes one-on-one with a Webb head, Steve Webb. And then Toddy a little bit confused. No, Toddy, come this way. Yeah. You've got to know where you're going. You've got to know your direction in life and on the ice as well. All right, second period. Claude Lapointe with a great pass to Roman Hamrlik. You folks in Edmonton remember him. He's a former Oiler. And all hail to Roman. The score is tied at 1 apiece. But then in the third period, it's a wild scramble. It's wild and crazy and crazy and wild. And from that wild scramble, Super Dave Scatcherd scores. The Islanders lead it 2-1. And the Islanders will play the Maple Leafs now because they do get the win. And they played pretty effectively against Toronto this year. And the Islanders pretty effective down the stretch. They have won 10 of their last 14 games. Now, this is the situation in the Eastern Conference. Here we go with the predictions. I'm going to take the Habs in 7. I've got the Flyers over Ottawa in 5 games. I'm going to take the Devils in 6 over Carolina. And the Leafs in 7 over the Islanders. There you go.
Against the Flyers and the Islanders. Looks like they were looking to get the Leafs because they had their number 1 in there. Chris Osgood between the pipes, and early on he's beaten. Ruslan Fedotenko stopped once but not twice. He collects the carom, hits number 17, 1-0 Flyers. Then on a Flyer power play, they go looking for more. McGillis to JR, Jeremy Roenick. Denied, though, by Osgood, who holds on to the rebound. Flyers taking the body in this one. Chris Therrien doing a number on Steve Webb. Then Osgood getting back into the act, stops Leclerc once, and then Adam Oates right there. Osgood looking good. Second period, Isles finally get him some support. Claude Lapointe, the backdoor pass to Roman Hamrlik. That is a beauty. And we are tied at 1. Isles keep coming in the third. Adrian Aucoin unloads from the point. Dave Scatcherd goes to the net. 1, 2, 3, 4. I declare a thumb war. That's a goal right there. 2-1 for the Islanders. How about Johnny Leclerc breakaway? Osgood once again gets him. Osgood, the hero in this one. And yes, the Isles and Leafs will get things going in the first round. The Isles 3-1 versus Toronto this year, and coincidentally, they beat the Flyers 3-1 in this game. Osgood is 32nd win of the year. That ties the Islanders record set by Billy Smith 20 years ago.
And so Bob McKenzie and Pierre Maguire, let's talk about the matchups within the matchups. First of all, Toronto and the Islanders, Pierre, and 2 intriguing storylines here about scorers trying to get away from checkers.
And it's all going to happen down the middle. Alexei Yashin's going to get a steady diet of Shane Corson. He didn't like that last year in the first round of the playoffs. Ottawa versus Toronto. Alexei Yashin, no goals in that series. Go back to the 1999 playoffs, the conference finals, Toronto-Buffalo. Michael Pekka right in Matt Sundin's face. Matt Sundin, 2 even-strength goals throughout that series. But I think the biggest match of all, fellas, is going to be taking place when the Toronto Maple Leafs get their powerful forecheck game going against Adrian Aucoin, Kenny Johnson, and Roman Hamrlik. Those 3 defensemen for the Islanders logged tons of minutes. So look for a steady diet of Tucker, Roberts, Domi, Corson, all over those defensemen, making them feel all kinds of physical pain.
All right, then meantime,
Darcy
also
Tucker
in the East,
and the Toronto Maple Leafs silence Alexei Yashin as an Ottawa Senator. We'll now see what they can do with him in an Islanders uniform in round 1.
Is it now or never in Toronto?
With a 40-goal, 75-point season, Captain Matt Sundin is finally the leader many thought he would be. But will that continue against the Islanders? 26-year-old Brian McCabe has finally found a home in Toronto. He had a career year on the Maple Leafs blue line. But here's the big question. With now healthy netminder Curtis Joseph poised to become an unrestricted free agent, is it now or never in Toronto?
On the island, a 7-year drought ends.
In his last 8 Stanley Cup playoff games, Alexei Yashin has recorded just 1 assist. For their $90 million, the Isles expect Alexei to step up against the Leafs. In 1998, Chris Osgood led Detroit to hockey's holy grail. Ozzy had 31 wins and 6 shutouts this season, but can he weave some playoff magic? And defenseman Roman Hamrlik may finally be living up to his billing as a first overall pick. But in 25 career playoff games, he has yet to score a goal.
Thank you, Peter. John, safe to assume that Peter Laviolette will go with Michael Pekka all over Matt Sundin throughout this series?
Well, he'll try, but when you start on the road, that's one of the dangers. That's why you finish with 100 points, so you can have that final change. But Mike Pekka did such a great job against Matt Sundin. You think back to 98, 99, Toronto Maple Leafs made it to the conference finals, and what happened? 5 games later, they were at home because Mike Pekka shut down Sundin. Hasek was in net, and he was very good. But I still think when you get 7 of a possible 8 points against a team during the regular season, you're playing with confidence against them, and that's what the Islanders did. The only loss that they had was an overtime loss, and I think the Islanders will come into Toronto. They came back from 4-1 in their last game here to win 5-4 in regulation.
And the Islanders, obviously, Pekka had a great season for them on the ice, but they also saw his leadership off the ice. And there was a game in Ottawa in mid-March in which the Islanders lost, and they were at a crossroads as a team, and there was a chance that they could still miss the playoffs. Mike Pekka convened a 50-minute closed-door meeting with players only, and after that they emerged and went on a 10-3-1 roll to finish 5th and obviously have a great run heading into their first playoff in 8 years.
Speaking of guys who need to pick it up and do something in the playoffs, doesn't get any bigger than Alexei Yashin's done nothing historically.
No, he hasn't. Hasn't scored a goal in the last 2 playoff years, and one of the matchups the Leafs like going into this series is Shane Corson, if he's able to go with his hip flexor against Yashin, because he shut him down completely last spring when Toronto played Ottawa in the first round. And as I say, it's been 2 years since Yashin has scored a goal in the postseason, just 1 point over that time, and he's obviously been one of the impact guys brought into the island and helped turn around this hockey team. He's suffering from a slight groin injury, should be ready for the first game.
John, you talked about the matchup of perhaps Michael Pekka versus Matt Sundin, again,
star,
on the change,
who will certainly be in the spotlight. While Peter Forsberg's playoff record is impeccable, Matt Sundin has shown he can be a postseason force as well. And speaking of impeccable, therein lies one of the keys for the Leafs and their captain against the Islanders. Here is John Liu.
If you ask Matt Sundin, he doesn't see much difference in his game. But to outsiders, he's a more complete player with a noticeably more physical edge, forged in the last 2 years' playoffs. That's what makes the prospect of Sundin going up against the tight checking yet offensively gifted Mike Pekka so compelling.
I don't think I've changed that much, but it's, I mean, who knows what the matchup's going to be, but, I mean, I'll be happy to if I'm playing him or whoever we're going to be matched up against. That's a coaching staff decision.
It's the, the battles within the war that, get a lot of attention, and, I think despite who you go up against, whatever team, there's going to be matchups to be talked about, but, I've always had fun going up against Matts from my days in Buffalo.
Another much-anticipated matchup could feature Shane Corson blanketing former Senator Alexei Yashin again. But Corson versus Yashin, the sequel, is in jeopardy because of injuries. Corson won't skate until Wednesday because of a strained hip flexor, and Yashin is hobbled by groin problems.
We got some history from last year, and I mean, it's what I said. It's a big compliment to me, and it's really when they put a lot of pressure on me, so shut me down. To, we have to find a way how to do and create some scoring chances.
He's great with the puck. He's got a great shot. He skates well, so basically try to stay on him as much as I can, play the body on him as much as I can, and like it.
Playing with Matt Sundin had ample scoring chances, second on the team in shots, but few goals, just 13. And while Hoagland refused to talk to the media after practice, the newly formed trio of Gary Roberts, Mikael Renberg, and Sundin were also reluctant to discuss the changes.
I don't know really what the thought is, but I have no problems to play with them for sure. I mean, two great hockey players, and we'll see what the lineup's going to be for tomorrow.
And I've been very comfortable playing with Gary Roberts. I thought we did well at the end of last year and in the playoffs. And Michael, we played spurts of this year. We played together, so it shouldn't be a problem.
At this point, so many things can change with a lot of the guys, you know, questionable for the game. Whether the lines will stay the same, who knows come game time.
And Roberts is one of those listed as questionable. He's missed the last 10 games with a torn ribcage muscle. The 35-year-old is still on the mend, but expects to be in the lineup on Thursday. As well, Shane Corson, who is nursing a strained hip flexor, returned to the ice on Wednesday, and is hoping to be ready to suit up against the Islanders in Game 1.
There's a good chance I'll play, but you know, again, I have to see tomorrow how the leg feels tomorrow morning. It's getting better and better each day, so hopefully it feels that much better tomorrow and get a skate in tomorrow morning and be ready tomorrow night.
If Corson and Roberts do dress for Game 1, the Maple Leafs' edge and playoff experience will be even more pronounced. 2/3 of the Islanders will be making their playoff debut Thursday at the ACC. As well, behind the bench, Pat Quinn will be coaching in his 144th playoff game. Conversely, his counterpart, Peter Laviolette, will be coaching his first playoff game. Although history shows that maybe none of that matters. Back in 1978, a rookie coach, Roger Nielsen, led the Leafs past the Islanders and coaching legend Al Arbour. In Toronto, I'm David Amber.
James Lane's Kenny Johnson's here. The puck's going to end up coming back to the point. Carolina gets confused on the play. Hammerlick does a great job throwing the puck back. Parrish is over there. He started here. Bates is coming over here. Kenny Johnson's a decoy. Parrish takes his time. Bates drives to the net. Set play. Bam. Finished off with beautiful glory. That's the way the New York Islanders, and it's one of the tricky ways that they create offense, and the Toronto Maple Leafs better be prepared for those set offensive plays.
Something else to watch for in that series, the goaltending battle. Curtis Joseph coming back for Toronto after suffering that broken hand, and a guy who already won before he played a playoff game. Chris Osgood, no doubt, sat back and watched the first game for the Detroit Red Wings and said, if I'd given up that goal in overtime, they'd be all over me. So Osgood's feeling pretty good right now as he gets set to take on the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs at Air Canada Centre. First period, things getting physical, you bet. Mike Pekka leveling Darcy Tucker. Islanders on the power play. Alexei Yashin taking the shot. It's stopped by Joseph. There's the rebound coming up. Kenny Johnsson with a quick shot to beat Joseph. 1-0 New York. Early in the third period, the Leafs keep it in. Travis Green will just pick it up and throw it at the net. Quick hands by Darcy Tucker. Nice tip past Osgood to even it at 1. Midway through the third, number 28, Ty Domi takes the shot. Kip Miller tips it through Osgood's legs. 2-1 Toronto. Matt Sundin would add the empty netter for the Toronto Maple Leafs on home ice at Air Canada Centre. And Toronto, as you see, opening up this best-of-7 series with a 3-1 victory over the New York Islanders. And I guess, John, what you don't see is at the end of that game, Shane Corson getting caught in a match penalty for intent to injure. Have a look at it, take us through it, and then I want your opinion as to what will happen
It got a little ugly at the end. Dave Scatchard and Shane Corson are jousting and jostling, and then Shane Corson takes his stick. Okay, there's one swing. Here's the swing that he got the match penalty for. Then he gives Darren Van Impe a little shot. It's the second one. Okay, not here. It's this one. And now he's looking right at Scatchard, and that's the one that I'm sure Coley Campbell is going to have to look at and say, well, okay, is that the same as the Keith Tkachuk on Lyle Odeline thing? That was 2 games.
What are you saying, suspension?
Well, hey, a match penalty, attempt to injure, he has to review it, and then you look at it and you say, well, okay, it's the playoffs. I don't think he's going to get suspended, but you compare it to the Keith Tkachuk one, it's quite similar to the one on Lyle Odeline.
Well, Colin Campbell has already watched it, and we'll review it tomorrow. And it's an automatic review, and we'll give his judgment before the Leafs play on Saturday afternoon.
But the one thing going for Shane Corson, it did appear to hit his arm opposed to a strike to the head, which the league, of course, frowns upon.
Their best-of-7 affair. Cujo between the pipes, his #1 keeper's back. But Coach Pat Quinn, still without Gary Roberts and Dmitry Yushkevich. Things get physical early on. Michael Pekka hammers Darcy Tucker. Karl Pilas greets Ole Kavasha at center ice. Even the glass wasn't safe. Kenny Johnsson tees one up. He takes it out. Turned out to be a pain. There was a little delay. 8 minutes later, the play would resume, and Johnsson tees up another one. No glass this time, nothing but net. It's 1-0. The Islanders lead. Other end, Leafs looking to equalize. Thomas Caberlet with the shot. Chris Osgood, nice save. The Toronto Maple Leafs keep coming. This time, it's Ozzy's favorite combo of leather and iron as the rebound is then chipped wide of Brian McCabe. Wallpapers Jason Blake with the hip. Another story, Alexei Yashin held scoreless in last year's playoffs, thanks in large part to Shane Corson's work. Here we have much of the same. Corson trying to make Yashin's life as miserable as possible, and he did for the most part during the course of this game. The Maple Leafs need a goal, so they turn to the NHL's second leading goal scorer. Matz walks in, goes to the backhander. Osgood again shuts the door. Ozzy with a mediocre 11-10 playoff record is since winning the Cup in '98. His team led it 1-0 going to the third. In the third, Cujo, nice save on Mariusz Czerkawski. Then the catalyst goes to work. Darcy Tucker with a nice little tip. The shot by Travis Green. It's 1-1. We get a brand new game. The Leafs keep it coming. Ty Domi from the sharp angle lets it go. Off a stick in front, between the wickets of Osgood. Domi's first playoff goal since '95. Late in the third, Toronto holding on. Kenny Janssen runs out of real estate, throws it in front, and nobody's home. Then Corson doing what you have to do in the playoffs. The big block as he drops down. After the Buds scored an empty netter, Shane Corson slashes Dave Scatchard. Corson received a match penalty for attempt to injure. The Toronto Maple Leafs take game number 1 by a score of 3-1. The Buds were dormant for a while in this contest, but they woke up in the third period as they come from behind. The Toronto Maple Leafs have won their last 5 series openers. And afterwards, David?
Yes. Here we are back in the playoffs. And
all cleaned up and polished and ready to go.
Golden.
Yes. Playoff fever hit Toronto, and even though the Habs were on the road, it hit Montreal also tonight. At the ACC, the Leafs did the expected and took the opener, but it was how it happened that should be the headline. Leafs rallied in the third period, in fact, got stronger as the game progressed, something that could inspire Leaf fans to get ahead of themselves. There's plenty to be happy about after Game 1. Let's check it out. Alexei Yashin and the Islanders looking for their first franchise playoff victory since May 22nd, '93. Big hit there. Pekka drills Tucker with a body check. Kenny Janssen winds up and lets a rocket go. That was a real pain in the glass. Yes, there was a bit of a delay, and then the Islanders are on the power play. Play resumes. Janssen picks it up and drains it. 1-0 for the Islanders, and they tried to sit on that. Leafs had a rough first period. Even the linesman got into the action. Knocks down Ty Domi. Chris Osgood stellar early on. Makes the glove save on Thomas Caberlet. Still in the first, Alan McCauley's shot rings off the crossbar. Gets a second chance to put it in, but it looked like they had the force field up. Couldn't get one by Ozzy. Brian McCabe delivers a nice hip check on Jason Blake right here. Bit of a squeeze. Under the third period, Travis Green shot tipped by Darcy Tucker as the Islanders fail to clear the zone. The old halfway up the boards, and it's in your net a second later play. Yeah, that ties it at 1. Just over 4 minutes later, Caberlet feeds Domi. His shot goes off Kip Miller. Boom! Scores! 2-1 for the Leafs with the Islanders shorthanded. And a 2-on-1 break. Blake is stopped by Joseph, and the rebound is kept out. And that was pretty well the storyline tonight. Nobody happy on the Islanders bench, and for good reason. 3-1. The final, Kenny Janssen, the only goal for the Islanders. Darcy Tucker, Domi, and Sundin into the empty cage, rounding it out for the Leafs. Cujo only 13 saves. Wow. Extensive postgame coverage.
Thank you, Lord. Their first postseason game in 8 years. The Islanders blew a second period lead for the first time this season. Coming in, New York was 30-0-4-1 when leading after 40 minutes. Now afterwards, the Islanders admitted they didn't play very well tonight. Despite that, they still felt they let one get away.
You know, we had this game. I think we were a better team from the start, and then somehow we let it slip.
We were holding on since we scored the goal. I mean, we really didn't generate any offense. We weren't skating like we're capable of, and I mean, they were coming at us. I mean, and when a team with that much offense continues to do that, they got some goals. Sure, they were lucky. They were deflections, but they were going to the net, and they were working hard.
The Islanders had very few good scoring chances in this one, but that's what happens when you register just 14 shots on goal. That ties a playoff low for New York, a record that was set back in 1975.
You know, we had opportunities to get shots, and we like to look for passes or hold on to a little bit longer, or they got blocked. So, you know, we certainly need to do a lot better job of getting more pucks at the net and bodies as well.
We passed up too many opportunities to shoot the puck. We had a couple 2-on-1s there at the end. We tried to pass instead of shoot it, so we got to shoot the puck a little more.
And Alexei Yashin, who led the club with 239 shots on goal this season, had 3 tonight, a team high. The Islanders know they'll have to improve in that department for Game 2, and contributing to the problem tonight was the fact that the Leafs had 13 blocked shots. At the Air Canada Center.
Coming up next, the Islanders and the Toronto Maple Leafs from the Air Canada Center. And Yashin will come in shoot. Now watch the puck come back out to Janssen, who sneaks in from the point and blasted by Cujo, who was deep in the net. 1-0. It stayed that way until the third period. Green throws it towards the net. Tucker redirects it. We're tied at 1 apiece. And then Ty Domi takes over. Talk about the guys in the trenches getting the goals, Bear.
Well, you can't beat Ty. You can only hope to contain him for a period of time. He throws it in net, hits Kip Miller's stick and goes in. You love it when the tough guys get rewarded with a goal, John.
Toronto Maple Leafs win this one 3-1. Ray, this is a team that fell at the beginning of the season. They were the best team in the East. At times they have looked like that.
Well, they were for a good period of time. They were, up on top of that conference for a good part of the year, but kind of faltered there towards the end of the year. But they're a team to be reckoned with. They're one of the favorites coming out of the East as well.
Another league for Boston league discipline this time. With more on that, here's John Lowe.
Good news for the Leafs and bad news for Alexei Yashin. Shane Corson has been fined $1,000 but not suspended by the NHL's Colin Campbell for his slash on Dave Scatchard at the end of Game 1.
I wasn't really worrying about a fine or anything. I was looking towards to see if I was going to be suspended or not, or what he had to say. But I was actually just disappointed about the whole call. I didn't think that I should have had a match penalty call, and I think a lot of people agree with me.
The aggressive approach by the opposition was what they should have been keying on there, and I think the referee overreacted.
Darcy Tucker has a head start on his playoff beard. Not accidentally, Tucker's facial growth sprouted during his late season hot streak, which has made him an unexpected secondary scoring threat to the Leafs' big guns.
I am feeling good out there with the puck and feeling confident in my game, so just going out there and doing whatever it takes to win.
He's contributing offensively late, so he's been a great force for us all around, and we're going to need to have that line keep playing the way they are.
The Islanders promise a more aggressive effort Saturday after failing to generate their high-tempo style for 60 minutes in Game 1. For Game 2, they plan to apply more pressure in the offensive zone.
We have to get some traffic to the front of the net, which we haven't been creating at all. I think that's his emphasis today, is to make sure we're going to the net and try and make room for the high guy in the slot for some more shots and maybe get some tip-ins from the point.
I think it's been our bread and butter all year. We've been a skating team, a puck pursuit team. I don't know. I can't give you an explanation for last night. We can only try and adjust it and fix it for tomorrow.
On the Leafs injury front, Gary Roberts didn't speak to the media following practice, which means he's still questionable for Game 2. However, Robert Reichelt stayed out for a full session and says he's been upgraded to a game-time decision for Saturday. John Liu, TSN, Toronto.
This doesn't happen often in the NHL playoffs, but there was an Alexei Yashin sighting. He's only scored more than 1 goal in the playoffs once in 4 postseason appearances. He did assist on that Islanders goal, but couldn't get much else done. Yashin certainly can't be entirely to blame for the loss. The Isles are the first to admit that they didn't turn in a playoff-worthy performance and plan on putting forth more effort and more shots on Cujo tomorrow. Damian Goddard has more.
Dave Scatchard wasn't well enough to address the media last night, but following today's Islanders skate, the centerman was outspoken but very guarded with his comments in the Corson stick incident.
We were kind of reacting to the way that he'd been playing in all game, and gave Pekka kind of a cheap shot in the back of the head, and I just asked him if he wanted to do something about it. What did you say? Well, he slashed me across the head, so. Obviously he didn't.
I don't know, honestly, I didn't see, what happened, and again, it's, I just hoping that everything in the playoff, it's any penalty, if it's a penalty, it should be called, and, it's the rules are rules, and again, it's not in my control.
Unfortunately for Alexei Yashin, he'll have to put up with Shane Corson Saturday afternoon at Air Canada Center. But Yashin is more concerned with peppering pucks at the opposition netminder.
We have to get more shots on that, and it doesn't matter who is coming from me or from anybody else. Hopefully we work today, and hopefully it will be better tomorrow.
I think it's time for everything. I think it's time for Alexei Yashin to shake the check. I think it's time for all the guys, second-line players. I'm not singling out Alexei. I'm just saying if we accept it, then it'll be quick work.
The fact the Islanders were outshot 15-6 and outscored 3-0 in the third period of Thursday night's opener isn't sitting at all well with the club, and it shouldn't be. The Islanders were an awesome 30-0-4-1 this regular season when leading after 2 periods of play. Shoot the puck more? Perhaps. Lack of playoff experience? Well, head coach Peter Laviolette isn't buying into any of that.
We're not buying experience. We're not getting it from somewhere. So unless we, if that's the excuse, and that's it.
Damien Goddard, Sportsnet, Toronto.
Series. Game 2 going between the Isles and the Leafs, and the Buzz got some great news right off the bat. Gary Roberts in a suit early, but then got into regular hockey gear and the warm-ups and felt so good he got into the lineup, and you know he would love to be out there as well. Dmitry Yushkevich, though, still waiting. But the Isles come out of the gate in a hurry. Alexei Yashin with a great chance in front, missing an open net, however, and then Matt Sundin cutting in from the wing, trying to go upstairs. Chris Osgood there with the save. Second frame, and this one starts to get physical. Jonas Höglund must be breaking in some new shoulder pads, taking out Roman Hammerlich. Darcy Tuckers are well worn in, lowering the boom on Mariusz Cherkasky. Then Wade Belak gets to know the folks in the front row. How you doing? The Maple Leafs come into the third knowing that a single goal would likely mean a stranglehold on the series. 3 minutes in, they get their wish. Matt Sundin is robbed on the doorstep by Chris Osgood, but Alan McCauley is there with the enormous goal. And spotted a 1-goal lead. Curtis Joseph would not relinquish it. Absolutely stoned Sean Bates in front to keep the Isles off the board. And in the last minute, goalie pulled. Mark Parrish in the slot, but Joseph is a wall after an empty netter with the 2-0 victory. Joseph, the story, 31 saves in the victory. Our own John Lou has more on the game.
Looking to generate a spark in the third period, Pat Quinn flanked Matt Sundin with Alan McCauley and Ty Domi, and the maneuver paid off. McCauley scored his first ever playoff goal and the biggest of his career to give the Leafs a stranglehold on the series.
Great work by Mats and Ty. I thought that Mats had actually scored and was just about to put my hands in the air, and thankfully I didn't because the puck laid about 2 inches from the goal line and I just had to shovel it in.
He's, if not our hardest working guy in our team in terms of that, working on the ice and practicing and off the ice workouts, and he really, as you said, has paid the price, and it's great to see him playing the way he has this year.
The Islanders played a much more determined game, more than doubling their shot total from Game 1 and forechecking and hitting relentlessly. But they came away with nothing, no thanks to Curtis Joseph, whose 6th playoff shutout as a Leaf moved him into 2nd place on Toronto's all-time list.
They bumped it up another notch tonight for sure. They were skating and playing on all cylinders, and I thought we rose to the challenge also. We played physical. We played good defensively, and we did a lot of good things right.
There's going to be times throughout the year, especially in the playoffs, where you're gonna work your ass off. You're gonna give it everything you got, and you're gonna lose, and that's just what happened to us. We just got to keep an even keel and come back in Game 3 and maybe even give it more of an effort.
History has shown the Leafs are strong closers when they get a 2-0 lead in a playoff series. They've won or gone on to win 23 out of 26 times when they get a 2-0 lead, and can do so again with the series shifting to Long Island for the next 2 games. Reporting from the Air Canada Center, I'm John Liu for SportsCenter.
And you seem to mention Adrian Aucoin's name a lot. Well, there's a very simple reason for that. He hardly ever comes off the ice for the New York Islanders. Time on ice has become one of the most revealing stats in the National Hockey League. And here are the time on ice leaders for all the games played in the NHL on Saturday. Adrian Aucoin at 33:04, by far number 1. Brian McCabe, Chris Pronger, Kenny Janssen, Roman Hammerlich, Thomas Caberlet. All these guys are defensemen, of course. That goes without saying. But notice the yellow arrows. 5 of the 6 were involved in the Toronto Maple Leafs New York Islander game. And that's going to be an interesting situation to look at as we go through this series. If Adrian Aucoin starts breaking down on 33 minutes a game, can he be supported by Hammerlich and Janssen? What impact are those big minutes going to have on McCabe and Caberla? That's going to be an interesting phenomenon to watch over the course of this series.
Obviously, a close game and not a lot of room for errors.
He's playing well. You know, today we made him work a lot harder than Thursday, and he seemed to be moving pretty well, making some big saves. But you know, there's always going to be holes. We just got to do a better job finding them. I think we were firing the puck a little too quick. You know, maybe too focused on getting shots on net, and rather than you know, looking for for the right
When it comes to
spot.
finances, after all, he made $6.5 million this year. He is lucky in love. His gal pal, Carol Alt, is a supermodel, although it should be pointed out she is on the Supermodel Seniors Tour now. But all in all, Yashin is still a pretty lucky man, except that is when it comes to the playoffs. Alexei was riding a personal 11-game losing streak in the postseason, and Islander fans are learning what Senator fans already knew. Yash is far from being a smash in the playoffs. Speaking of a smash hit, though, Gary Roberts is back. He's my most favoritist player in the NHL. I'm not biased, but I got to say it. Alexei Yashin, he's got to go if the Islanders are going to go. You know that. First period, Sean Bates goes to Yashin, but he misses the net. Oh, he comes up empty. And then Rob's getting physical. He always does. He wants to make his presence known right off the get-go. Darcy Tucker, the former Kamloops Blazer, going to the net. That's what he always does. But on this occasion, he gets called for goalie interference. Obviously not happy, so he takes it out on the opposition. Nails the former Vancouver Canuck Adrian Aucoin. Second period, Thomas Cavalier goes to Michael Renberg. Ozzy moving out, makes the stop the short side. Now, as an Islander penalty expires, Mike Pekka is going to bust loose. Watch.
Penalty done. Islanders have a 2-on-1 coming in. Pekka, right in. Shot, rebound, and 2 saves by Curtis Joseph.
No, says Cujo. So we go to the third period. Ty Domi. Look at the stick handler. This is how the stick handlers do it. Domi in front to Matt Sundin, and then Alan McCauley bangs it home. How about Ty Domi on the big line now and doing some special things? It was 1-0 to the Leafs. And then Kavasha throws it in front. Dave Scatchard, he got one crack, comes back, and Cujo hugging that post. Kids, if you hugged your post today, I urge you to reconsider. Jonas Hoagland turns it over Yashin to Sean Bates. Cujo with a big save. Oh, he's putting on a show. Under a minute left now. Bates out front to Mark Parrish, the former Seattle Thunderbird. He could have been a hero, Jamie. He could have been a hero, but Cujo with a big save, and then a breakaway. And it's Cavalier, and oh, everybody was singing Honky the Christmas Goose. Johnny Bauer up there was leading the charge. Do you remember? You're too young, because Johnny Bauer, the great Leaf legend there, we saw a picture of him. He recorded an album, Honky the Christmas Goose. It was a big hit for Johnny.
Really?
Yes, and he was a big hit in '67. He won the Stanley Cup for the Maple Leafs, and maybe, just maybe, Cujo will do the same. I know it's early, but he looked great today. 2-0 the final.
Fast Cujo.
31.
We remain scoreless into the second period. Pekka, the shot on net. Little wrister. Stopped again by Cujo. Scoreless to the third period. Ty Domi standing erect on his skates, getting it to Matt Sundin. He will be stopped by Curtis Osgood, and Alan McCauley stops it home. The Leafs up 1-0. Less than a minute to go. Cujo needing to make the big stop. Parrish with a shot, and Joseph again with a save. 31 of them on the night. 2-0 final score. Cujo's 13th career playoff shutout. So much for the lingering worries about his readiness after breaking that hand 7 weeks ago. The Isles still have not won a playoff game since May of '93, and they try to make a series of it back at Nassau on Tuesday evening.
Several members of the media did not pay to get in yesterday, nor were they served the old popcorn. But after the Isles GM uttered 26 expletives during the audio and video explanation of how his team is getting rocked by the refs in the series with the Leafs, an NC-17 rating should have been attached. Today, Pat Quinn had this reaction.
I mean, if you want to go through and analyze the other club, I mean, we can do it that way. Just say, oh, look at what he does wrong and what he does wrong. And I mean, we had kids smash. You saw the hit on Belak. That would have been a 5-game suspension a week ago.
The only thing I'll say is I'm not going to get in a pissing match with him, and he didn't seem to mind when I played there, so if you guys want to talk about Game 3, we can do that, but I'm not going to talk about the article.
I think Brian, if anything, he's a guy who plays hard and fair. He's not a dirty player, and New York is a desperate team, and Game 3 is going to be obviously a key game.
We realize we haven't played our best hockey, and we realize we're going to have to be a lot better going into their building. They've played well against us in there this year, and with their fans having seen playoffs in a while, they're going to be very excited, and we can be sure that we're going to have to be a heck of a lot better.
Same story. If you want to keep your job, what's good for the boss better be good for you, at least publicly. Peter Laviolette, head coach of the Islanders, backs up his GM's claims from yesterday.
Well, we were told they were going to call it. We were sat down before the series. We were told exactly what they were going to call. I think Mike's complaints are legit. I think that what he said and what he showed is a videotape doesn't lie. So,
despite their complaints with the officiating, the Islanders have bigger problems, namely their lack of offense. They are hoping that a return to the friendly confines of Nassau Coliseum will help them rediscover their scoring touch. Either that or bring back Bob Nystrom.
Well, we're hoping their enthusiasm helps us, and we hope our play helps their enthusiasm. So, I think they go hand in hand, but certainly they're going to be pretty revved up.
We create some chances, but again, it's most important to win the hockey games, and for that you have to put the puck in the net, and hopefully we can create more traffic in front of the net and score some goals.
But leading the pack, how about Adrian Aucoin of the Islanders? The former Canuck logged 33 minutes and 5 seconds in Game 1 against Toronto and worked 1 second less in the Game 2 loss Saturday afternoon. Aucoin is providing a lot of bang for the buck now, if only the Yashin factor could kick in for the Isles' sake.
Just a chance to dream for a second. The Canucks blue line, as good as it is and young and promising it is, it could have been Aucoin, McCabe, Jovanovski, and Matthias Olin, who was also top 3 in minutes played this point in the playoffs.